How sweet to be an idiot.
Hello! Welcome to another week of the Brilliant Idiots podcast. I go by the name of Charlamagne the God.
I'm Andrew Schulz.
And this episode of the Brilliant Idiots is brought to you by our great friends at Bevel, the first and only shaving system designed specifically for coarse, curly hair and sensitive skin. Check out getbevel.com today. Use code IDIOTS to get 20% off your first month at getbevel.com. That's GETBEVEL.com. I actually went to go get a facial this week. And the lady that does my facials was complimenting me on how smooth my skin was.
Really?
Yeah.
How did she say it?
She was like, I told you not to come here, when you shaved. And I said, sweetheart, I haven't shaved in 2 days. I'm just using something new called Bevel. Mm-hmm. And that's why I don't have any razor bumps or anything, boo.
Wow.
You feel me?
You're replacing her.
No, I'm not replacing her. I like her hands are amazing.
Really?
Oh my God. Listen. The best thing about facials is the fact that you just fall asleep. Like, it's not a good facial if you don't fall asleep and if your dick don't get hard.
I can't stop thinking about some dude just giving you a facial.
Never had a facial by a guy.
Never?
Never. I get massages and facials once a month, and every time I go, they ask you now. They be like, yo, you want a male or a female? I used to get offended, but I'm like, this is the times we live in.
No, it's I know dudes that refuse to get massages from women because they don't
feel like their hands are strong enough. Yeah.
If you really get massages, you'll get them from dudes because you want that real, like. If you get massages like I would, I just want it from a chick because I don't know, I'm weird like that. But if I'm really into the massage culture, you want a dude who's gonna get in there.
Nah, because I'm not one of those chauvinistic pigs who thinks that men are stronger than women. Women can do the deep tissue.
What do you mean you're
massage
not?
too.
Men are. Wait, you don't think men are stronger than women? What world do you fucking live in?
Not when it comes to giving massages.
No. How can?
Not when it comes to giving massages.
Are men stronger than women?
Yeah, physically, of course.
Okay, so
depending who you're up against. I'll take Brittany Griner over goddamn. I was about to say Gary Coleman, but he's dead. Then I thought Emmanuel Lewis, but he's dead. I'll take Brittany Griner over Justin Bieber.
Yeah, okay.
Brittany would beat Justin Bieber's ass. Brittany is physically stronger than Justin Bieber.
Okay, so the strongest and tallest woman versus pretty much the closest thing that men have to a woman.
True.
Okay, but what about if you take LeBron and put him against Brittany Griner?
Brittany will dunk on LeBron right now.
Man, shut the fuck up.
Brittany
contrarian ass
Griner.
First of all,
would ram on
Brittany barely dunks.
Schultz.
When she dunks, it looks like, remember that Sprite commercial with
Bullshit,
Kobe?
Brittany bends the rim.
You. Bends the rim.
Yes, with two hands.
Ball in.
Bullshit. Listen, I forgot the chick from North Carolina who used to dunk, and I used to be like, that is the weakest fucking dunk. That shit is so whack. Brittany dunks.
Nah, man. Barely.
No.
It don't look good.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Brittany, two hands.
Why do we have to lie to ourselves? No. Why do we have to lie to ourselves? Why can't we just admit, hey, guys are better at some shit, women are better at some shit? Why do we have to sit here and go, oh no, women are just as strong as men?
I've never had a massage from a man to be able to compare the two.
Okay, so
but
you don't know.
But on the subject of Brittany Griner, Brittany Griner dunks and bends the rim.
Kind of.
Brittany Griner's a hidden character on NBA 2K15 coming out, though.
Is she really?
No, I'm just bullshitting.
Well, she should be hidden very well because I would never play with her, okay? I want you to hide her with a fucking cheat code that is impossible. I want the Da Vinci Code to be the code
Brittany
together.
Griner Brittany Flock of Flame.
That's what I said. She does look like a what is one of her kids?
What is that? Like a flock of flame.
No, but what is that lady's kids?
Who? Waka Flocka Mama?
Waka's mama.
Deborah Anthony?
Yeah, she does look like one of her kids.
That's crazy.
That's fucked up.
Now, man, a lot to talk about this week.
Fuck, there's been so much going on. You know what's been cool is seeing people's tweets and seeing them anticipate our conversation.
Yeah.
Because I always like, and you always talk about this, about being a point of view and stuff like that, and people caring about your point of view. So the fact they're like, yo, are the Brilliant Idiots going to talk about this week, or they're going to talk about that shit means a lot.
Well, we had some points on white privilege last week that I'm not going to say people took out of context. I just don't think that we went in depth enough on a subject that we should have went in depth enough. And so we're going to bring
by depth, you definitely mean depth, but it's all good.
Yeah, same thing.
You know what I mean?
I'm a brilliant idiot, okay? You know what I mean.
Knock a couple letters off the word.
And add one. Add one that's not in it. In depth, okay?
Exactly.
In DEF.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Russell Simmons. Okay?
So we're gonna bring in our dog Combat Jack and our man Premium Pete. You know what I'm saying, from the Combat Jack podcast.
They're gonna come in and explain to us.
Well, Combat Jack believes in white privilege.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe in white privilege. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
In depth, in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people said they wanted to fuck Sarah on SoundCloud.
Yeah, people were really going at
How you holding up, man? How did it
I'm
make
good,
you feel? I didn't
man.
see you snap on nobody online.
No, I'm good.
I
It
was
was-
waiting for the social media meltdown.
Nah, you know what I mean? Here's the thing. It's like when you have an attractive girlfriend, guys wanting to fuck her is not new.
But no, they were really graphic.
They were just saying. One dude said some shit that was wild. He said, he's like, yo, I'm gonna tear that monkey open. I said, what the? Sarah saw that. She's like, Andrew, I don't even know what he's talking about.
This one dude said, I'm going to fly to New York just to smack Sarah Phillips on the ass. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a
to
lot.
purchase a ticket.
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck. I just want to slap her on the ass.
Let me tell you something.
That's some shit that could possibly happen.
No, this is some real shit. If you just give me the money for that ticket, I will let you slap her on the ass. You just give me that
just gonna pick your girlfriend up,
$700.
dog?
I'll give her $350. We'll split it right down the middle for an ass slap. Come on.
But salute to everybody who was leaving comments on SoundCloud. We really appreciate that.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but salute to the people that are buying tickets for the live show already. Night
live
of the
show.
Brilliant Idiots, September 2nd.
September 2nd at
Subculture.
What time?
8. I think doors open at 7. I think it starts at 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure you go to Subculture's website and cop those tickets right now, man, because
Would
it's
that be
going to sell out.
subculture.com?
I think it's subculture.com. Yeah, just go to subculture.com. Get those tickets. That's going to be crazy, man.
Yeah, I
no,
mean,
it's
listen,
not subculture.com. We're just hearing right now. Listen, we're brilliant idiots, man.
We're brilliant idiots. We have our guy about to tell us the actual website. But I really do appreciate y'all listening every week because it enables us to do stuff like live shows.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate y'all subscribing and ranking us on iTunes. We really appreciate that. I love seeing us in the top 5 on iTunes. And,
It's subculturenewyork.com.
Subculture, is it NY?
No, New York.
Oh, you got to spell it out.
Yeah. Do subculturenewyork.com and you could check out events, and we're one of the events. I could give you this long ass, the exact event page for us, but just don't. And cop the tickets in advance because they're $20 in advance, $25 day of the performance. So
That's
we're gonna
right.
hit you over the head if you come day of and get tickets.
Subculturenewyork.com. All right, go get your
It's gonna be
tickets for the
dope,
Brilliant
man.
Idiots live broadcast September 2nd, 8 p.m.
Night of the Brilliant Idiots.
Night
man.
of the Brilliant Idiots, man. We're all brilliant idiots, dog. If you feel like a brilliant idiot, come kick it with your peoples, all right?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about my man Robin Williams, because this show today that we're talking about is going to be about white privilege as well as Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri.
Yep.
So we got a lot to cover.
There's a lot going on.
So I just want to talk about Robin Williams real quick.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him.
Rest in peace.
He committed suicide.
By asphyxia.
I never agree with suicide in any way, shape, or form.
Why?
I just don't think you should give up on life like that. I don't think you should give up on yourself. I don't think you should give up on your family. I don't think you should give up on your friends. I just think that you have to have more faith in a higher power than to say, you know what, I'm clocking out. Because listen, man, let's be honest. To breathe is a privilege. Life is a privilege. Life is a blessing. You know what I'm saying? It's not promised to nobody. You see people that die every day, whether it's by natural causes, whether they get killed, anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, this is really a blessing to wake up every day. I wake up every morning, I get on Twitter, and I say, thank you, God, for blessing me with another day of life. Before I do that, I get on my knees and I pray and I thank God. And I pray that he wakes up my girl and my daughter and my mom and everybody I love. You know what I'm saying? I pray for y'all. I pray for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So to take your own life, I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, you never know what somebody's going through, but I know one thing. I've been alive 34 years, and one thing I do know, life goes on. Robin Williams isn't here today, but the next day came, it's going to go. The next day is going to come after that, it's going to go.
It's going to move on without you.
It's going to move on with or
Yeah.
without you, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's nothing you can't get through in life, yo. I'm a stern believer in that.
Yeah, you can get through shit, man. Suicide is tricky, man, because the reason why we tell you not to commit suicide isn't for you.
Who's it for?
Your family. That's what everybody suicide. Who does suicide hurt? Suicide don't hurt you because you're dead.
You're dead.
You don't know what it's like, but when you commit suicide, it affects your family, your
man.
kids, whatever.
Man.
So there's part of it's a very selfish
very
act,
selfish
yo.
act.
It's super selfish. Now, granted, you're going through some shit that's horrible and you're fucking hurting, but at the same time, just imagine the amount of hurt that's going to be brought on your family.
Yeah, your kids sitting around thinking,
what if they could have done something?
That? You know what I'm saying?
They think it could be their fault. Like, maybe I should have called them more.
Yeah,
maybe
man.
I should have done all this other shit. So it's like, if you're thinking about that, first of all, everybody goes through depression, man. Everybody got that, man. And so there's people you could talk to, people you could relate to, But if you're thinking about that, also think about the people who rely on you.
Absolutely.
And just maybe not just rely on you for money, but like emotional support.
There you go.
That shit is more than
that's
money.
more important. I heard that he was having financial problems, and you always hear stories about he was in debt or he had some financial issues, so he killed himself. Listen, man, I don't care if you got money. I need your support.
I need your love.
I need your love. I
Yeah.
need you here. You know what I'm saying? I need your emotional, your mental, your spiritual
I need
strength.
that Miss Doubtfire too.
No, I don't even give a fuck about that.
No.
That's the other shit that pissed me off when they say Robin Williams had financial trouble. Even if he did, Robin could have came out that whole quick. Robin could have did a week of stand-up.
It wasn't financial trouble, man.
think so?
People always like to throw shit. Like Michael Jackson had financial trouble. My fucking ass, he had financial trouble. Do you know what I mean? Everybody just likes to throw that out
the
there.
motherfucker keep the upkeep on that goddamn carnival he had in his backyard. He had a full-fledged Six Flags in his backyard. So
Really,
he couldn't have had that much financial
But he had
trouble.
billions of dollars. He was making millions of dollars a day just off all the rights to his music.
He
and
owned
shit.
the Beatles catalog.
They're
He owned
done.
the Beatles catalog.
Game over.
Come on, man.
Game over. He owned white people.
You can't.
There's no greater accomplishment in a black man's life in America than owning 4 white
Yo,
guys from England.
You know what's crazy? I was looking at the top paid musicians ever.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson was number 3. The
Who,
Beatles were number 1.
Yeah, but Paul McCartney, right? Specifically.
No, the Beatles specifically.
But that's 4 of them. You can't count.
Well, I'm just saying, it was as a group. I think they amassed the most money tour-wise, whatever. I don't know what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yo, not only was Michael Jackson number 3, he owned that catalog.
He owns the Beatles,
How the
dog.
fuck did Michael Jackson own the Beatles
Because
catalog?
motherfucking Paul McCartney said, yo, you know what's a great investment? He said, you got to invest in the rights to the music or whatever it's called. The what is that shit called? The rights?
masters?
The
Publishing?
Yeah, publishing. He said invest in publishing. And Jackson was like, oh, okay. All right, thanks for that information. And then bought his whole fucking shit.
Really?
Yeah. Is that not the illest thing? Like your boy comes to you, yo, it's a good idea if you go do this, and you just cop his whole fucking life.
But wouldn't white privilege not allow that to happen?
I don't know. Maybe we don't care about English white people. That's what he did not call his white privilege representative.
Yeah.
And he did not ask why we're letting, or maybe Michael Jackson turning white gave him a new set of privileges that he did not have before.
Michael Jackson never turned white. Let's be clear on that. I don't give a fuck how much he bleached his skin, how much plastic surgery he had, how many times he cut his nose off. At the end of the day, he was still an African American from Gary, Indiana. He can try to run from that shit all he want to, but he was an African American from Gary, Indiana. And you know when they reminded him of that?
Yeah. When
He was fucking accused of touching little boys.
If that's not the whitest shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm trying to get racist.
If touching
Listen,
boys
man,
ain't
I'm
the
getting called
whitest
Uncle
shit.
Tom and a coon, so I'm trying to relate here.
That shit is
okay?
wearing on you, huh, dog? Listen.
I'm trying to relate here.
That
okay?
is the whitest shit ever, being accused of touching little boys.
Yeah, we ain't.
Because if he stayed black, he could have all those boys around his house, and then all the fucking time he wanted, and the black community would come behind it, and they'd be like, "Look, he's the father that they don't have."
Yeah, I can't relate to the black pedophile struggle.
Is
Touching
there?
little boys. I know guys that touch little girls, which is just as bad. But I can't relate to the black pedophile touching little boy struggle.
Yeah, well, I hope you can't. I don't want you to sit here and be like, I get it.
Listen, but you know it's people.
These boys be cute.
It is people who refuse to even get. That's how powerful Michael Jackson's music was.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson was so dope musically and
Yeah.
such a great entertainer. People will not even allow you to think. You think Michael Jackson? No. Before you even get it out,
Let me
you think
tell
Michael
you
Jackson?
why. Yo,
No.
Akash told me the illest shit about this. We don't believe that he touched little boys because we know that we'd forgive him. That's how great his music is. Right? We don't want to take that fucking music off our iPod. We don't want to take, because if he said, yeah, I fucked all these boys, you got to stop listening to Thriller, dog.
Nobody would give a shit.
Thriller?
Nobody would give a shit. It's 2014.
You know what we'd say? We go, listen, he ain't touched the boys when this track came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
I don't listen to that new shit with Chris Tucker.
I don't listen to Pedophile Michael. That fucking bad was Pedophile Michael.
Bad.
Off the wall.
That's why
and
he was
Thriller,
called bad.
Yeah.
He knew he was doing bad things.
Off the Wall and Thriller was not motherfucking Pedophile Michael.
Hell no.
But Robin Williams, man, like yeah, man, like anybody going through depression, talk to somebody.
Talk to, and people are there. Yo.
Don't hold your emotions in. Like I'm the type of person, I don't hold nothing in, and that maybe it's therapeutic. My job's are therapeutic. The fact that I do radio, the fact that I do the podcast, the fact that I go do television. I'm always active on social media. I'm always expressing myself because I don't want to hold anything in. Because anything I hold in will eat away at me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we're afraid to express ourselves because of how we're going to be viewed or how we're going to be judged. Look, man, you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
You're not going to say things that are going to please everybody all the time. You're not going to do things that are going to please everybody all the time. Yeah. Sometimes you're going to be up, sometimes you're going to be down. Who gives a fuck? The people that really love you are going to be there and support you, dog. So I don't give a fuck what you're going through. Do not be afraid to talk to somebody about it.
Talk to somebody. And it's understandable. You know, we all been in situations where you don't want to talk to, let's say, your family because you're worried that they'll judge you or something like that. You don't want to maybe talk to your girl, but talk to a priest. I don't fucking know. Talk to somebody, man. It don't matter who it is. Go call up a hotline or some shit. There's something weird about just saying what's on your mind.
It's the best.
It's free. It's like weed, dude.
It's the best.
It's weed. It's like getting high.
It's the best, man.
Yeah.
Nothing free. Listen, when I hold something in, it eats away at me so much that I have to say it.
Yeah.
I gotta put it on Facebook. I gotta tweet it. I gotta call somebody and say it. I have to get it the fuck out of me. If I don't get it out of me, it's like you're backed up. I gotta take a shit to allow more shit to get in there. It's like I gotta empty my brain to allow more things
shit
to get in.
You're consumed with it.
You're consumed with it, man.
You ever talk to somebody who has like a giant fucking wart on their face?
That's
you know
all
what
that
I
shit
mean?
they hold in.
And it's like, say what?
That's all that shit they hold in their
Oh,
mind.
it could turn into the wart?
Absolutely.
No, I'm talking about you. It's like, all I want to do is talk to you about this fucking wart. Or I want to do is talk to you about this. You have this whole scar. I got to bring it up. I got to say, yo, why is your fucking face look like that, man?
You know why children are so free?
Go. Because they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
Mister, why is your nose so big?
Well, yes.
They just say it.
Yes, they're just free.
We're so polite.
Listen,
Fuck polite. Just talk.
My daughter is 6, man, and she is so free, and I love it.
I'm jealous of it.
Love it. She calls me and my fiance old. She calls her grandparents old. She was like, y'all are really old. She's like, mom and daddy old, but y'all are really old. And like if I say something like if I'm kissing my fiance, she'll be like, no, stop kissing. Wait till the wedding to kiss. I'm like, I can't kiss my wife. She's not your wife yet.
Really?
Yes, like that's like I love the honest conversation. Like it makes me be like, you know what? I got to be honest with my daughter at all times.
Yo, honesty is freeing.
Honesty is freeing, man.
You said some shit to me way back in the day that I thought was really interesting. People say treat people how you want to be treated, right? But that's misconstrued because what we assume is everybody just want to be treated nicely, right? So we go, oh, I'm just going to treat you nicely. But you said the opposite to me. You go, I just want people to be honest with
me all the time.
So if I'm honest with you, if I go, yo, I hate your shirt, you go, you know what? I was thinking about your eyebrows and I hate them.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for talking about my shirt because your eyebrows suck.
That's how you make things better.
Yeah, it's just, it's like, let's just get it. It's like, you ever on a date with a girl and you just go, yo, I'm going to be honest with you. I really just want to fuck you like really bad.
Yes.
And then she goes, well, that's not going to happen today. And then after that, you can have regular conversation.
That's it. Let me get it out.
Let me just get this out.
That's why I jack off most of the time. Like when I used to go out on dates and shit, if I was going to be with a girl, I would jack off first.
Just to get it out the system. Get it out,
so I'm not talking about sex with this stupid ass girl all night long.
She brings it up and she's like, look, you should have hit me up an hour ago when I was jerking off to you.
Yes.
Then we could have talked about this fuck shit.
And then when you tell a girl, look, all I want to do is fuck, most of the time you be like, look, not tonight.
But I think
maybe next time.
They appreciate the honesty.
Everybody does.
Don't run up on a girl on a subway and be like, yo, I'm trying to fuck.
That can work too. I've had
not
that work.
On the subway. You just grinding your dick into her butt until the next stop.
That's harassment.
Yeah, don't harass.
Don't sexually harass a bitch.
But
a woman.
Yeah, a bitch. Yeah. Don't sexually harass a hoe, a slut. Listen, you can verbally harass these fucking Dutches, but don't fucking sexually harass them.
It's real though, man. Like honesty truly is the best policy. Like I hate people who will be talking to a person, and then when y'all leave, you be like, yo, did you smell his breath?
Tell him his breath.
Tell him. Why you ain't offering him a piece of fucking gum?
You're helping him.
You sitting there with a fucking pack of Orbits with 15 sticks in there, and you couldn't get a motherfucking one?
Yeah.
Like for real. You just gonna wait and talk about how stink his breath is?
We did this in fucking middle school all the time. Remember there was the kid who stunk?
Oh.
And we all made fun of him when all we could have done was we could have changed his life. He's probably somewhere in an insane asylum, or he's probably somewhere just fucking picking like dead skin off of his arm and eating it because we didn't go, hey man, you need to put deodorant on. You're from Europe. You came here. It's a different culture. You stink like fucking
so
shit.
Funny you said that. My homegirl was dating this dude from Africa.
They come here. They don't have any smell etiquette.
And she offered him a stick of deodorant. She offered him some deodorant. Now and this is a grown man. Now he uses deodorant on the regular, and he acts like she gave him the Bible. Like, like the meaning of life has been realized by this guy, all for a fucking thing of deodorant.
Yeah, because now when he talks to people, they don't have like the screw face every single time.
Absolutely.
Now he actually has people who want to be. Imagine how interesting you need to be when you stink. Think about that shit.
Important.
Important, interesting.
Yeah. Fuck interesting. I don't give a fuck. I'm like, he ain't that interesting. He stinks.
But then you got to be that fucking the shit that you got to come with when you stink. got to be great for me to go, all right, tell me this shit, dog. Just fucking tell me.
Like, the only way I'm putting up with that is if you're in the studio and you're like the greatest producer of all time or the greatest songwriter of all time. I'm sure I'll deal with that stench.
Greatness.
If you're a radio person, if Howard Stern was really stink and he was sitting there trying to tell me stories, I would go through
Thug it out.
But then I'd have to tell Howard, you stink.
Yeah, right off when you got off the air.
Dog. No, not off the air.
You tell it on the air.
Yeah, probably off the air. Yeah. I wouldn't disrespect the God Howard Stern like that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
In no way,
shit.
shape, or form. But yeah, man, just be honest with people. Why the fuck do we keep forgetting about Robin Williams? There's nothing else to say, I guess. That's all I wanted to say.
No, we did R.I.P. him. Here's something I want to talk about. You heard about this porn star, Christy Mack?
Christy Mack.
So Christy Mack's this porn star who was dating this MMA fighter named
heard about
War
it.
Machine.
Yeah.
And apparently War Machine beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, because he caught her in the bed with another guy, which I totally don't understand because she's a porn star.
You're a fucking porn star.
I don't get it.
If there's one thing, actually, I'm interested about this. If you are okay with your girl fucking other dudes, right? How can you ever be angry at anything?
How can you be angry?
What could possibly be a fight?
What is there to be upset about? Like, okay, are you mad that she's not working? Maybe she's fucking.
She's
'cause
practicing.
She wants to fuck. She's practicing.
Just say we're running lines. That's what they do, porn stars. We're trying some new positions out.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing. That shit scared the shit out of me because I'm like, man, I hope I don't ever run into a motherfucker that's an MMA fighter and I don't know it. That motherfucker will beat the shit out you. An MMA fighter will embarrass
and kill
the
you.
Shit out you. And they're not huge people.
Nah, they look regular.
Oh my God.
He's crazy looking.
Listen, imagine the guy that said he's gonna fly to fucking New York and slap Sarah on the ass is an MMA fighter.
He got those puffy ears. That's the only sign.
The sign.
If you see a dude with puffy ears, you just go, "Hey, baby, why don't you bend over for that guy real quick when I slap your ass?"
A guy slaps your girl on the ass. You like, motherfucker, don't you ever slap my girl again. He slaps you. You swing back at him. Next thing you know, you're in
asleep.
10 different moves.
You're asleep.
You don't even remember what happened. The girl,
you telling it's your girl. Tell him I'm tapping. Baby, tell him I'm tapping.
Christy Mack or whatever her name is. I was reading her Twitter statement. She said she don't even remember how many times she got hit. Dude. She just said she woke up with 18 broken bones around her eyes.
Oh, her fucking teeth are done. She got pictures. You got to go check out the pictures. Here's something that nobody is going to say, but we're all thinking, right? Mm-hmm. Girls always do this shit where they go, and I was tweeting about this the other day, but girls always do this shit where they date a shitty dude and they go, he's just misunderstood. Yeah.
Until he kills you.
By you, he's misunderstood. We fucking understood him fine when he chose to call himself War Machine. Okay? That's perfectly understandable to me. If a guy goes, hey, my name is War Machine, I'm going to go, yo, nice to meet you. Yeah. I'm probably never going to talk to you ever again.
That's a very good point because Sierra recently released a statement yesterday or one day this week where she said that her engagement with Future is off.
Why?
Who the fuck knows? But guess what? Your engagement with Future should have never been on.
Yeah, because
he's already got 4 other baby mamas.
What the fuck do you think? Let me ask you a question. Would you date a girl who changed her name to Chops Dude's Dicks Off Machine? Would you date that girl?
I don't want no problem with Chop Dude Dicks Off Machine. If that's your fucking gamer tag, I'm not talking to you. I don't give a fuck. Fuck your real name.
Fuck your real name. Your Twitter handle.
That's your Twitter handle. What the fuck?
If you play Call of Duty with Chops Dude's dick off,
what the fuck is wrong with her?
Because when she chops your dick off, there's no way I'm gonna come up to you and be like, "Yo, I didn't see this coming, man."
Duh. Why do you think all those rap crews back in the day changed their name once they got into legal trouble?
Why?
Murder Inc. When they got caught up with the feds, changed the shit to the Inc. We can't have this image
anymore.
See Murder. He's in jail right now. But guess what? Murder.
They profiling themselves.
You profile your fucking self. You cannot commit a crime like murder. Mm-hmm. And your name is C Murder. And then you're in the courtroom and they're like, well, he goes by the name C Murder, Judge. How do you even explain that?
So here's the thing. Prejudice. We tell people not to be prejudiced and we tell them to be prejudiced. We're going to tell all women, hey, if there's a guy named fucking War Machine,
stereotype.
Profile. But at the same time, we tell cops, don't profile black kids and fucking shoot them in Missouri.
Yeah, but it's different. Because unless the kid is walking around with a shirt that says, I kill people, fuck you, cop, I'll kill you, you can't just do that.
You should never kill anybody.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying
it's specific types of profiling. If your name is War Machine, 9 times out of 10 ladies, you shouldn't date this motherfucker.
10 times out of 10. I don't care if you miss your soulmate. Your soulmate isn't War Machine. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. That's never the person God put on the planet for you is War Machine. How do you fucking marry a guy named War Machine?
The moral of the story is when a person shows you who they are, believe them.
Yes.
That's it. It's no, oh, he's misunderstood.
Shut the
It's no,
fuck
oh, y'all just
up.
don't get him. No, it's, oh, he's good to me. No, eventually it's going to be your turn, motherfucker. That's what I tell people all the time. If you want to see how somebody treats you, watch how they treat other people, that can't do anything for them.
Yeah.
And watch how they just treat other people in general, because eventually it's going to be your motherfucking turn.
And women need to pay extra close attention to this shit, because if you want to see how a guy treats you, see how he treats the girls he's already fucked.
Don't listen to him when he says, but you're different. You ask him about the past 4 girls
No,
he dated. Well, I killed her. I beat her up. I shot her. I stabbed her, but she didn't die. But I'm rehabilitated now.
Yeah,
I'm
my
good.
life has changed.
I would never harm you in any
I
way,
totally
shape, or
changed.
form.
I changed my name to War Machine. You know, it's a new leaf I'm turning.
Oh, yeah, my first baby mama, me and her didn't work out because such and such and such. My second baby mama, we didn't work out because this such and such. Now, my third baby mama, we could have worked out, but we didn't work out. But you, baby, you different.
It's you.
Poor baby mama, you the one. You the trophy. Sierra, you the trophy. No, motherfucker. No.
Listen to who they are. If they fucking tell you who they are, listen to that shit.
Yeah.
Judge them. That's the thing. We got too much faith in people.
Too much faith in people, man.
We got way too much fucking faith.
But you know what? That's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because when you have faith in people, it shows what kind of person you are.
Yeah, but fuck that. You get fucked up and you end up in a hospital bed.
You do, man. You do.
Stop
man.
trying. You're not the fucking, what is that? Hillary Duff goes into the ghetto and changes the fucking public school. That's in the movies.
Some of us are too nice, man. I tell, like, you know who's really too nice? Our parents are usually too nice. Our moms and shit are usually too nice.
To us? Or to
just
anybody?
the people in general. You know what I'm saying?
My mom don't give a fuck.
Nah, my mom's different. She's a Southern woman. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, put it like this. I went to my mom's house maybe 4th of July, and she had an alarm system. And I'm like, hold the fuck up. What the fuck's going on? Why do you have an alarm system? And she was like, I just, I want one. And I'm like, nah, some shit must have happened.
Yeah.
Why do you have an alarm system, Mom? I know you. She's like, nothing happened. I'm here by myself now. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause all of us grown up and we out the house.
I'm just dating this new guy named Terrorist Maniac. You know, it's no big deal. But I just thought I'd put a little thing in.
I'm dating this new guy named Motherfucker Killer. You know what I'm saying? Meaning I fuck your mother and I kill her. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, it's good to meet you, Charlamagne. You're her son?
A motherfucker
Yeah,
killer.
a motherfucker
You know
killer.
MFK for short. You know what I'm saying? All right, you ready to talk this white privilege shit, man?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, Sierra made Future the past. That's the moral of that story. Somebody got to go get Combat Jack and Pete.
Yeah, they're gonna come in right now. Matter of fact, what we should do right before that is, now again, this portion of the show is brought to you by Bevel. Remember our good people over there at Bevel, the first and only shaving system designed specifically for coarse, curly, and sensitive skin. Your skin is looking lovely right now, Charlamagne.
That's because I got a facial yesterday and because of Bevel.
See, That's the combo. Now, if you're a fan of the show, you already know why we rock with Bevel so heavy. It's clinically proven by an African-American dermatologist, no less, to reduce and prevent razor bumps. It's designed from the ground up to give a smooth, bump-free shave. I can attest to that.
It's very true. Listen, I've used everything to try to get razor bumps. I've used products like Bump Patrol and there's some other shit I use, but I can't even remember the name of it. But this shit, it actually works.
Yeah.
Bevel actually works. And shout out to my dog, Tristan Walker. You know what I'm saying? He's a very sharp 29-year-old dude. We always talk about how everybody always runs to entertainment and athletics to try to make some money. But Tristan Walker, he's an entrepreneur who saw a hole in the African-American market, and he made moves to fill it, man.
I need to see like a before picture of Tristan, because he must have had the meanest razor bump.
Listen, for you to design a product, hold up, Tristan. That's a true story.
I just need to see the boil on his neck.
For you to design a product that decreases razor bumps and removes razor bumps, you must have had the nastiest Nestle Crunch Bar face known to man.
We need to see it. I need you to send us a before picture, and we're gonna put it up on one of the videos. Tristan, send it to us.
Yeah, they say Tristan saw that there isn't a first-class grooming product experience for minorities. Tristan saw those razor bumps on his face.
That's what he saw.
And he started putting all kind of stuff together to try to get rid of those bumps.
He was looking like the Haagen-Dazs bar with the almonds in it.
Hey, but listen, however you got it done, Tristan, we thank you. And thanks to Bevel, you can now get a first-class saving experience thanks to my guy Tristan and my guy Bevel. All you got to do is go to Bevel.com today. Use code IDIOTS to get 20% off your first month at GetBevel.com. That's GetBevel.com.
That's right. Get Bevel and put away the magic shave. Forget about the clippers. You guys, we all deserve better products that work better for us. I don't want razor bumps. I want to look clean. And also, I like that aftershave because it makes my face feel all cool and lovely. So check out getbevel.com today. Use code IDIOTS to get 20% off your first month at getbevel.com. That's GETBEVEL.com. And shout out to the listener at IAM_Shem who wrote, what's the shaving company you and Schulz talk about on Brilliant Idiots? We're talking about Bevel, okay? You already know this because we tweeted back at you. But a last shout out to at Ipsimus1 and I am James Lopez, who also hit us up on Twitter to say they checked out Bevel after hearing about it here. We appreciate the support, man. So you're helping us, and that's great.
Listen, at I am Shem, how can you ask us what's the shaving company me and Schulz talk about on Brilliant Idiots? If you're listening to Brilliant Idiots, you should know.
What are you listening on that you don't have a fucking rewind?
Yeah.
Send us a picture of your computer that doesn't have a rewind on your SoundCloud app, because I want to see that as well.
At I am Shem. Next time you want to ask us a question, just ask us, okay? We'll reply. You don't have to make up stupid shit like what is the shaving company that you and Show talk about. It's just clear as day. Bevel. Rewind it. If I was listening to a podcast like, hold on, what did he say? I would just press rewind. Okay?
Oh, that is kind of an adorable way to just interact.
That's it, man. Come on. Don't do stuff like that. I'm with you, dog. I'm here for you, bro.
Absolutely.
I got you at I am Shem.
Yo,
Now here comes Combat Jidak. My brother Combat Jack.
Welcome. That's my brother Greg.
From the world famous Combat Jack podcast. Loudspeaker Network. We in this bitch. Premium Pete.
That's my real brother.
You my brother too, Pete. You know what I'm saying?
You guys don't have the headphones?
Nah, man, no headphones.
Damn, we addicted to headphones.
I know.
Yeah.
This is my spot, too. This is where I sit.
That's what we were told, man. We want you comfortable.
Nah, thank you, man.
And we wanted the contrast.
Yeah.
We wanted the
Are
white.
we taping right now?
Yeah,
absolutely, man. We're in.
The
So
white,
it's showtime?
white, black, white, black.
That's right.
We all brothers, though.
Checkerboard.
We're all Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
Even if we can't get the system of America to deal with equality, we deal with equality in this room.
Okay.
That's right.
All right?
That sounds beautiful right there, man.
Now let's talk about this.
What
thing.
is white privilege?
There you go.
What do y'all think white privilege is?
I think white privilege is like if you're an ugly white dude, you could still date a hot Asian.
That's a horrible example.
Because that to me seems like white privilege. Like you could be a balding white dude.
I agree with you. That's an aspect of it.
It is definitely a huge benefit.
Yeah.
I'm personally not using my white privilege to its highest potential.
You're definitely a waste of good white skin.
I'm a waste of good whites. Well, I mean, I have a beautiful girl, but she's not Asian. I can't imagine how hot an Asian I could get with my white skin.
You got a good career going for you, though. You got.
I got a hot Asian.
You got an Asian. Your wife's Asian?
Asian and black.
Okay,
So
you got mixed.
Black, big dick privilege.
Nah,
shit.
No.
Now
Hey, yo.
Yo, that is black
That's
privilege.
not nice.
No, that's not nice.
That's a compliment.
I use my intellect, man. I use my game and my intellect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what she told you.
No, that's what I did, man. And then her pops loved attorneys, so that was like a points on the board for me.
That's privilege.
That's
That's education.
You know what it is? It's education privilege.
Yes.
But education is supposed to provide you with privilege.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Across the board.
Absolutely.
But okay, question about what is white privilege?
Mm-hmm.
Statistically, a report has said that a white man in the United States
Mm-hmm.
with a record, a prison record,
Mm-hmm.
has a better chance of getting a job than a black man with a college degree. That's privilege. That's privilege.
What kind of job?
I mean, entry position.
Why is a black dude with a college degree going for entry level positions?
I mean, because he's got, at the end of the day, the job market kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the job market with regard to black people as well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of unemployment out there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Pete, you're white.
I mean, I'm Italian.
Italian.
But I'm white.
You're white.
No.
Italians always think they're not
Are you-
fucking
wait,
white.
you
They're
gotta
fucking
understand-
white.
Hold up. You gotta understand.
Italians
Listen, first of all,
Italians, you love to think you're not
first of all-
fucking white, and then the cops come around and they're like, "Oh,
Joshua,
officer,
listen,
we're all
calm
fucking
down.
white."
Joshua,
Listen.
calm down.
Listen,
Calm down.
You're
Listen.
white, buddy.
I'm Italian.
You're
I'm
fucking
Italian.
white.
You know what that means?
What does that mean? Let me
That
ask you a
we-
question. If the three of you guys are right there,
first of all,
and the cops stop you,
Italians-
are you
okay,
white?
talk, show
All
them,
right,
talk.
go.
Okay. Where'd you grow up, first of all?
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
And he's not
So you
Jewish.
fucking have no idea
not
what
Jewish.
the fuck I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Okay. Growing up, a Brooklyn Italian, an Italian American, a New York Italian is totally different than a regular white guy. If you don't know that, the way they move, their style, the way they're brought up, just their whole demeanor.
The way they say ball up.
I agree with
Why?
that.
Why?
It's whole
agree with
different.
that.
Why? Yeah, of course it's different, but that don't make you not
Jay-Z
white.
was influenced by a lot of mobsters besides State Street.
agree with that.
He was influenced by that. But back to your question, you know what? White privilege is just being allowed more tolerance than other faces.
Sure. Question
That's
though,
what- that's
just
white
because
privilege.
it's
And
different,
you know what it is?
why does it make you not white? Growing up as a Southern
I
white
have
person
nothing with
is
being-
different.
I'm white. I have nothing with being white. But
You know,
I'm
that's all I'm
Italian.
saying.
Let me
But I'm
interrupt for a
Italian.
second.
Yeah.
You got to understand too, man. The concept of whiteness has constantly evolved. When the Irish got here, they were getting paid less than the blacks.
Yeah.
They were like, "Fuck this."
Yeah.
And they thugged their way into the privilege of being white. The same with the Italians.
Mm-hmm.
And it's until recently that like that I've seen Jews become very comfortable with calling themselves white as well, because they were definitely ostracized. Particularly in New York City. So whiteness, I mean, I just read a recent article that said, there's Hispanics now that are qualifying for white, and even Asians that are qualifying for white.
checking
The
that
only
box.
people that cannot qualify for white is black.
That's interesting you said that, because when I was talking to somebody about black homicide statistics in America,
Right.
and they were saying the
You
statistics.
say homicide?
I always do that. Homicide. I'm from the South.
Okay.
But they always say the statistics are skewed,
Right.
because sometimes they find Asians dead and they can't identify them, so they label them African Americans. I was like, that makes no sense to me.
Right.
Like, why would you do that? Like, I don't
That,
understand
like the glitch in the system?
If you're an Asian, you're an Asian.
Right.
If you're
But if you're an Asian American, I mean, it's funny, man. I'll tell you this situation. A couple of months ago, it was myself, Dallas Penn, and Just Blaze. And the Continental dive bar in the in the Village?
Yeah, actually, I live down the block from it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I've been going to that bar for years, but New York has kind of gotten really like different in terms of like class and gentrification, the whole nine. I've been in that bar for years. So it's me, Dallas Penn, and Just Blaze. We walk up to that bar on a Saturday night. It's popping. Everybody's in there. We get to the door. The bouncers are like, "Yo, who got on phone posits?" Like, he just instantly, the minute we got to the door, his whole demeanor changed. So as we're talking to him, like all the other kids that are going in, like he's not checking them, but he's being extra aggressive. A black dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what his marching orders were, but the minute we got to the door, he got extra aggressive. So after a minute, Just Blaze is like, "Yo, man, I'm Just Blaze. We don't have no foams on. I guess that's your." And he's like, "Y'all still not getting in. Like, just really, we didn't do anything to this dude."
I should.
privilege, though.
But the white kids that were walking in,
He helped
weren't
you.
going through that.
You don't want to be in that bar.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I've seen. All right, at the,
Now they had the privilege of walking in without getting checked for their dress code. We didn't. That's all.
hey, listen, but I was a black guy doing that.
Right.
So I'm at the
Yeah, but you got to understand, it's systemic. So regardless if it's a black dude or a white dude or a Jewish dude or Asian dude, it's still being applied harshly. Like Premium Pete said,
Question, though.
there's a greater tolerance for people
Well, listen.
with lighter skin in this country.
So
You can't deny
where's
that.
the responsibility for that guy as a black man?
I don't know where his responsibility is, but I know in terms of a community, and I know Charlamagne and I have been going back and forth. The fact that white privilege exists doesn't absolve our community from responsibility. Both of them are not mutually exclusive. We have to, like, at the end of the day, and that's been my message. It's like, yo, we're all we got, because nobody else is gonna fucking. What are you waiting for? The government is not going to lift you up. There's no black President Obama. His hands are tied. We're all we got. We got to take more
I agree
responsibility.
with that. We definitely need more community
You know,
leaders. I mean, that's
so-
since day one. But listen, what does white privilege? I want to know what y'all think white privilege does for white people that it doesn't do for everybody else.
First of all, the first thing about white privilege is being, like knowing that you don't have, like him asking what white privilege is. I listened to the previous episode. Like, the first part of white privilege is being oblivious that
First
you
of
don't
all,
have
we
privilege.
both asked what it was.
No, I know, but I'm just talking to you, so you understand more. Charlamagne will listen, and he'll understand even more. But I'm talking
I'm
to you.
smarter than you is what he's saying. I'm the most brilliant of the idiots.
Yo, is there tension here?
I don't
Is there
know.
tension with the white
Ever
boys?
since
here?
he's a Jew,
Come on,
I'm Italian.
He said he's
I don't
not
know what
Jewish.
the problem
I'm
is.
not Jewish.
What are you
Stop
then?
profiling me. I told you I'm
What
fucking
are you?
white.
You from Ocean Parkway? Where
No, I'm from Manhattan.
But what ethnicity?
You don't listen.
But what
Okay,
Manhattan.
all right,
But
everybody
show
else
us what
listen.
ethnicity.
Both of y'all.
Because what is white? Like you can't just be white. Like, what is it? Polish? Are you?
My mother's born and raised in Scotland.
Okay.
My dad is a New Yorker. He's Irish and German.
Okay, so that's he's Irish and
Okay,
German
no
and
problem.
Scottish.
But I don't relate. I'm not like you, where like I have this attachment to my past.
I don't have attachment. I'm proud.
Did you just
I'm
call yourself
prideful.
Italian American?
I am Italian.
So define the word attachment.
Well, the attachment is that I'm Italian.
That's all I'm saying.
And the culture that I love about it, and I'm proud to call myself
Exactly.
Italian. I'm not a white wet dog, and I don't fucking, you know what I mean? I'm not sitting there ordering brand muffins.
What?
Well,
What does that mean?
Listen, there's no offense to it, but that's not what I do. The style of me is totally different.
Sure.
The way
But
I grew
you
up is
call
different.
yourself
I'm a Chinese kid that grew up in the projects. That's his just environment, the way he grew up. He's gonna come off to you different than a regular Asian kid.
Yeah,
That's
the difference between culture and race. Yeah, there's a difference.
What?
There's a difference between culture and race.
So
That's
why
all
do
you're
you have a
saying.
problem with me, saying that I'm Italian? I'm proud to be Italian.
I
Even
just
like when we
said-
came on the Breakfast Club.
I just
remember
said you
like
were.
the white guy. I was like, no, Italian.
Italian,
You know,
yeah.
because that's what
And you gotta respect
That's
it.
why
That's
I
your
am.
culture.
Yeah,
You know?
but your race is white.
No, but the thing is, white and black with regard to race is a social construct.
Sure.
It's a social construct.
Sure,
so if he
sure.
doesn't want to buy into that, I can understand him because it's
I
a
agree.
social construct.
Sure, I fine.
I
But
agree.
then, okay, if race is a social construct, then there is no white privilege.
Well, why create? No, we see, but now you're talking.
I'm just going off of what you saying, dog. I'm
it's a
just
social,
saying.
It's a social
Let's get slick.
construct.
Let's get slick.
It's
No.
a social construct.
If you say,
Listen to me.
I'm
It's
listening.
a social construct, meaning it was constructed, right?
Sure.
It's not biological.
It's continually
It's not-
constructed.
It's not
Yeah.
biological. It was constructed
Sure.
by human beings in this society. Why? To make a difference between certain peoples and certain other people.
Sure.
So
Who
therefore,
constructed
if
it though?
I mean,
I don't listen. This is my thing.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Don't
I'm
you-
gonna ask you a question. Who you think constructed it?
I mean, if you go back to the founding fathers, even when the Constitution was enacted, and I studied this when the Constitution was enacted, they said, this is a country free for all. But the founders of the Constitution had slaves. It wasn't meant for the slaves.
That's not entirely true.
but
That's not entirely
how
true.
can you have slaves and talk about freedom and democracy?
Because you know that slavery was not a racial issue initially.
It wasn't.
There
But when
were-
they wrote the Constitution, it was.
Okay, but you know that there were there are free black men
Yes.
in the South
In the
who also owned slaves throughout the entire Civil War until afterwards, from the 1600s
See, well, I'm not
until
aware of that.
afterwards.
I'm not aware of that. I gotta
Absolutely
see
true.
that. I gotta see
Absolutely
that.
true.
I got to say it. But across the board,
Sure, because they
if
were
you
white,
were black,
Yeah,
and you were in southern states, you could get snatched up and be a slave.
that's not true. Because there were blacks that had slaves in the southern states, and they were freedmen because they came here as indentured
getting coverage
servants.
on you. He's getting
They came here as indentured
Did you see-
servants,
did you see
just
12
like
Years a
white
Slave?
people. Are you going off a movie?
No, but this
I'm
is-
going
but
off
this-
fucking
but this is
history.
fact, but this
What
is
are we?
history, though.
Hey, I saw
But that-
Django. That doesn't mean there was a black guy running around fucking shooting people.
Well,
in
it
the
was
history.
fictional.
Nat Turner, but
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
another thing.
Django was
Yeah.
fictional.
Sure.
12 Years a Slave was factual.
Sure, there was a
Django was
story.
real, Jack.
Django was
I believe
real,
in
like street
Django.
real,
I love
'cause he
Django.
carried that
Yeah.
gat.
Django is like the WWE
But let me ask you something.
of slavery.
Let me
yeah.
ask you something. How old are you, if you don't mind me
30.
asking? Okay. You don't believe in white privilege, right? But do
No,
you believe
you're not
you
listening.
Believe,
I do believe in white privilege.
Okay,
I believe in
do you
white
believe
privilege.
that you have access to your white privilege at all?
I believe that there are white privilege. I believe that there are black privileges. I believe there are Asian privileges.
No, true. I agree.
Indian
Asian privileges is clipping your toenails on the New York City subway. That's Asian.
Hey,
Holy
yo.
shit. I'm sorry.
Premium Pete.
I'm sorry.
Yo,
Jesus
no,
Christ.
come on, man.
No,
racist,
I think
racist Pete is alive.
No,
and
No,
well.
no.
I'm sorry.
I think you make a good point. I think an Asian privilege that people have.
Have you ever
is-
seen them do that?
No, I think
Who
no.
the
I-
fuck said they could do that?
It's not even that. They'll make soup on the fucking subway.
Yeah?
But it's their part. They have their own world. They live in their own world.
You know
Yeah.
what, though?
And that's a privilege because we
Asian
accept that Asians got their own fucking thing going on. And if they do something weird like that, we go, oh, that's just him being Asian.
Yeah.
If a black or white dude does that, we're like, yo, what the fuck is wrong?
I think
with you?
the difference between
I
these
agree with him.
privileges is when it comes to the United States with regard to white privilege,
Mm-hmm.
it's been supported across the board systemically by the government.
I'm gonna tell you what I think. white privilege
And black privilege might be a cultural thing. Chinese privilege might be a cultural thing. But white privilege is ingrained in the foundation.
But what
of this
is
country.
we haven't
okay.
said what it is. Give me
tell you-
white privilege.
I'm
Someone
gonna
tell
tell
me
you-
what
okay,
it
In
is.
New
me
York
to-
City, in New York City in 2014.
Yeah.
In New York City in 2014, me and you could go and look for the same apartment.
Yeah.
And I can be told there's no apartments here.
Okay.
And I won't know why. I will have to believe them on face value. Where they've been studies that we've got an apartment here.
But you
We've
are
got
more,
apartments here.
Yeah,
So-
but you're more financially successful than I'm assuming.
But that doesn't mean
You're-
anything. That doesn't mean anything.
But I feel like it would in this
It does mean
situation.
something.
No,
It absolutely
it means
would.
something.
If
in certain
the black
instances-
guy is
You went to an
Jay-Z,
Ivy League school.
Okay, listen,
You're a
listen,
Let me tell
lawyer.
you
You're
an incident I had. I was making over 150,000 when I worked at MTV.
Yeah.
I was looking for a crib. I walk into a real estate place, look for an apartment with me and my family, sign the papers, the whole 9. They were not fucking looking at me. They weren't looking at me. I didn't exist. I saw how they treated the other white people who I assume were making less than me. But they didn't, and you got, come on, don't be blind to the fact that housing.
Can I respond to this real quick? Because I do believe
housing discrimination still takes place. Regardless what the
No,
income is.
You're right.
That's what Donald Sterling is famous for.
Yeah, there is housing discrimination, but I think what is left on us is there's also housing discrimination by gender. When I was in college, there were houses, right, that just flat out said we don't rent to guys. And it makes total fucking sense because what do? We ruin the house. We throw a fucking house party.
Or single guys.
Or single guy. Exactly. That's another thing.
You have a family with kids.
But why was I being discriminated against? And I'm coming in, and I'm
not saying that one is more right than the other.
Yeah. I'm representing my family. I could say that you might have been, sexually discriminated against because of that. Because you were a college kid, right? You were a college kid at the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
But in New York City, I guarantee you, statistically, if we walk in certain neighborhoods and you look for an apartment and I look for an apartment, not only are they going to tell me that the apartment's not available, but they might want to charge me higher than they would charge you to dissuade me from moving into that apartment.
Like the video that you sent around. Did you see that video? Didn't you send it to them?
Which one?
The video where it shows the guy who got a less rent, the white guy got less rent than the black guy. But they quoted him at like $2,600. They quoted the white guy when
$2,300. I mean, this goes on.
Listen, Jack, you're not wrong. But when I think white privilege, I think of the civil rights era.
Right.
I think of when you really couldn't go in the same restaurant as a white person. They tell you, no, you're not good enough to be in here. When you couldn't use the same bathroom as a white person. When we couldn't even vote.
Oh, that's a whole different level.
No, that's real white privilege. When I see Martin Luther King Jr. them fighting for civil rights and equality for all, that's what I think of when we got white privilege abolished. When the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was signed and it became illegal for them to treat us unequal,
right.
That's when I'm like,
but you know what?
White privilege is out the window.
But you know what's crazy to me? I would rather be in an environment where racism is so visible because I could see it, as opposed to being in a system where they're telling you it doesn't exist and you don't know
why?
anything. Why?
I've heard this argument before. I don't buy it.
If you can't see it,
yeah.
If you can't see it, it's still affecting you, but you can't pinpoint it. I'll tell you, I'm not supposed to say this, but when I was at MTV as a vice president and I saw how they treated everybody, I was the only black person in the department. I had to sue MTV.
Why?
Because I was being treated differently. Just in terms of...
That's black privilege.
How's that bad
privilege? White person can't do that.
This is black privilege.
A white person can't sue because they say
white
they
people,
feel they're being treated differently.
Let me make this point.
Unless they're gay, unless they're a woman.
There's a case in Michigan.
Hold on.
There's a case in Michigan where a white student sued this college because she didn't get in because of affirmative action, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Did she get in?
This year? No, they decided in Michigan that they weren't going to apply affirmative action with regard to these colleges. She won this case.
So she got into the college.
I don't know if she won into if she got into the college, but she won her case.
Gotcha.
So you can't say there's white people right now that sue for.
Listen,
here's the thing. Let me make this point because I think this is a black privilege. And I think that as a black guy or
first of
girl,
all, let's dead the white privilege, black privilege thing. We all have privilege at different times.
But that's my point.
Everybody has privilege at different times.
But it's not supported systemically.
Okay, but here's the thing.
I don't believe
maybe.
that.
Okay, let me just make this point.
Systemically.
I believe that.
What
system are you talking about?
I'm talking about by law, by constitution. What supports black privilege? Don't tell me affirmative action.
What law supports white privilege?
Housing discrimination.
That's not a law.
That's not a law.
There's no law, Jack. That's an asshole.
But it was supported
There's a fucking
by
racist
the government until the government in the 70s said we have.
But we're not in the 70s.
We're not in the 70s. We've abolished segregation.
What is the nugget? The main nugget of wealth in the United States is real estate.
Yes.
The main nugget of wealth.
Says who? The real estate industry bottomed the fuck out. Houses were worth nothing.
Land. He means land. Owning property.
You mean owning property?
Yeah,
okay.
Property. If you look at a race, like a running race,
sure.
If you look at the ability of whites in general to own land for over 400 years, up until the 70s, they had a head start in terms of land ownership.
Absolutely.
So now that we're just getting into the race,
okay,
you're talking about handing over wealth to your kids. You know what I'm saying? That's accumulation of wealth from generation to generation. Give us time.
Give us time. We just started. We just getting started, Jack.
But the fact
you just said they got a 400-year head start.
The fact that you're saying to me that we just started, You already ran 9. You have had the privilege of running 9 laps ahead of us.
So what?
So what?
That's privilege.
First of all, no one ran 9 laps ahead of me. No one ran no one ran 9 laps ahead of you.
This is what I want to say real quick, because last week people thought that I was saying I don't believe in white privilege, like I don't believe that it exists.
Right.
No, I just don't believe in the notion that anybody is better than me and can do better.
But
than
that's
me
not what white privilege is. That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying.
But I'm saying I'm not denying white privilege. I'm defying it.
And
I feel like
we're talking the same thing. My daughter's on the cover of Time magazine.
There you go.
I just sent my sons to China and Paris.
There you go.
Nothing is stopping me. But I would be a fool because I've had I have a double Ivy League education.
There you go.
And I've beat the system. I feel that I've beat the system
Absolutely.
up until this point. But I would be a fool to say that there are certain barriers that don't exist because I beat the system.
I can't put that in my kid's head.
Exactly.
I can't put in my kid's head that there are any barriers.
Don't poison them.
Okay.
Because you see what you want to see in the world. Let me say this one thing. Let me just say one thing because I did some research on you and your background. Were your parents immigrants?
Yes.
And my mom was an immigrant.
I'm first generation.
I'm first generation too. My mom was an immigrant. Came here from Scotland, stopped going to school at 15 years old, came here, was offered American privileges. There's nothing. My mom poor as shit in Scotland. Came here. My dad, who went to school here, got a college education, ended up working for my mom. You know what I mean? My mom took the American dream and went it. America's about greatness. You were great.
Yes.
Greatness over everything.
No, wait. My mom was great. My mom was great.
So were you.
Your mom was great, and she instilled that
But so were you.
by telling you that you can do anything you want.
You were
great.
great.
Anything your mind.
Look,
Look.
You were great, right? Greatness has always defied race. Jackie Robinson was great. Barack Obama was the greatest politician in that election.
And he's still going through bullshit because
it don't matter.
Every president goes through bullshit.
Not the same. Like the fact that they
George Bush was called stupid for 8 years in a fucking
row.
row.
Was one of the worst presidents, though.
So, all right, and a lot of people would say that Barack Obama is one of the worst presidents.
I just think it's dangerous to talk about white privilege so much that we make other races forget we have privilege too. We're all great at different things.
Take away the safety net. You're giving a safety net. You're giving an excuse for failure.
Listen.
Don't give them the excuse.
But you got to let me
talk about
on.
my sons for a second. I have 3 sons. I said, we sent them to one of the best private schools in this city.
That's privilege,
right? We've sent them overseas.
Economic privilege.
You know, we've sent them overseas. Like they've had more privilege than a lot of people. But in their school, it's not seen as privilege because their peers
just got the same thing.
So we live in Brooklyn, New York. We live in Crown Heights.
Mm-hmm.
My kids now that my kids are teenagers, they're still kids. But like they travel with their friends. And one day I was like, listen, when you go out, carry your ID. And my kids were like, why?
Because it's the law.
Listen to me. And I'm like, because there's a chance that you might get stopped by police. They're like, why would we get stopped? We don't do anything wrong. I was like, trust me, carry your ID. They were carrying their ID. They were walking by their school. A cop stopped them, pinpointed them, stopped them. Why are you home from school? Because the public schools weren't out, and they had to show their ID. Their friends, when they shared this, they were like, no cop has ever stopped us. No cop has ever stopped us. They saw these black kids walking around, and there was an assumption or a presumption that these kids weren't supposed to be where they were.
They assume that they go to public school.
Exactly.
And how many black kids are in your private school?
Very rare kids.
Like how many? 10%?
My 12-year-old is the only black kid in his class across the board.
So
in his grade.
Is it wrong of that cop to have a 99% chance of guessing right? He profiled 99% right.
But the white kids have the privilege of not being profiled. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but black kids
listen to me.
They get profiled on other ways.
Listen to me. With regard to law enforcement, which is another thing, because I mean, there's a lot going on right now with law enforcement. The fact that my kids realize, oh shit, we're seen as different. And we have to move a little different. I'm not taking anything away from those kids. I'm pushing those kids to be great. And they know that they're great.
And that's why they're great.
But I'm saying you can't be ignorant to the pitfalls that exist systemically.
But you don't have to put it into me.
You don't have to put it in them.
I'm not putting them in. I'm arming them.
Putting them on.
I'm arming them.
No, you're priming them, man.
You're telling me how I'm parenting now?
Listen, you've clearly
you don't have
done
no kids. Does anybody have kids here?
I got a 6-year-old daughter.
I don't have a son.
I'm gonna tell you a story. I was super advanced all through elementary school. My mother was a school teacher, been a school teacher for over 30 plus years in the South Carolina school system. I used to go to a school called Memager Elementary. They used to put me
Mamma what?
Memager.
Okay.
They used to put me in advanced classes in elementary.
Why is it Mamma Jamma? Because he's a black guy? Is that
that's
why?
what I heard.
Is it because he's a black?
I heard him say Mamma Jamma.
all through elementary school, I was in advanced classes. You know, I was with the bright kids. When I got to middle school, when they moved me from Charleston, South Carolina, put me to Mons Corner, I was in middle school, Berkeley Middle School. Nothing but white kids in my class.
Right.
And they used to have the levels, like it'd be like A and B were the high level classes. Literally D and E were the low level classes. That's where all the bad kids were, the kids that couldn't learn properly, everything. So it was just me and like 3 other black people in those classes, right? I never once thought I'm black and special. I never once thought they're white and better than me, or it was a privilege for me to be in that class.
But nobody's saying white
listen,
is better.
I just think we was just all smart, right? My cousins, my thug-ass cousins, who all are either in jail or just washed up bums now,
On the block, whatever.
started beating me up in 7th grade for hanging with the white kids. I had stop hanging with all those white people. You Uncle Tom, you always with these white people they knocked my glasses off my face and broke my glasses. So I started hanging with them. Because out of fear, I started
So you've been
hanging.
traumatized by black people.
I'm not saying that.
But that's traumatic.
No.
They broke your glasses.
I'm getting to a
Damn, that's
point.
not traumatic.
No,
Getting
he's
to a
making
point.
it again.
Okay.
I started hanging with them because
Out of peer
he
pressure.
put it in me that being white, or not being white, being smart was seemed as being white and wrong. I'm supposed to hang with the black people, hang with my cousins,
I
and
would
do
never,
fucked
I would
up
never
shit.
do that to my kids.
You know, I got a similar
But you
situation.
don't. But you're not there.
was
Your
put
kids
in
are
my
influenced
brain.
by their surroundings.
Yes, they are.
You know, so your kids
But the
might hang out
foundation-
with those
Nobody ever
guys.
told me
the
that.
foundation is home.
But you have to. They did studies about this. Your peer group is way more influential on you than the home.
Absolutely.
Way more.
Listen, when I started learning the 5% teachings of Islam, I never once thought the white man was the devil until then. Never. Oh, now they're Yaqub's kids. Because somebody's taught that to me. Somebody put that in my
You don't want
mind.
to chase
Now you're
Yaqub
back to
back
hanging
in the
out with
cave.
white people.
This guy.
Now you're back to hanging out with white people.
And look how great he's done.
And he's done well. But
It's
but
done
you know
really
what?
well.
You know, I'm glad that you made that point, because when I was young, I grew up in Coney Island. Italian kid, I grew up in Coney Island until I was 14 years old. When I was 14 years old, my father made a little bit of more money, and we moved to Bensonhurst. Height, Yusuf Hawkins time. Okay.
You guys familiar with Yusuf Hawkins?
No.
Tell him what you.
Okay, well, Yusuf Hawkins came into a tiny neighborhood,
Black kid.
Bensonhurst. A black kid came into a tiny neighborhood.
Late 80s.
Yep, was talking to a couple of girls, white girls. Dudes came and
He was murdered.
murdered him. A couple of kids was in jail. I mean, some of them may have just got home. Some of them, Joey Farmer was one of them. I forget who else.
You sure you wanna say
Bensonhurst
his
kids.
name?
Yeah, I mean, they're out there.
It's
I mean,
public record.
Okay.
yeah. So anyway, make a long
Like
story
nothing
short, when I came to Bensonhurst, thank God I grew up in Coney Island, because I was told all the time, "What are you doing with these mullions? Huh? You want to bring them around here?" They didn't want that in that neighborhood. Still to this day, that's like that. But I never let that get the best of me. Like, I like the way you say your cousins, they may have made you change your mind at that time. But overall, I see you flourish with a lot of white people.
You grow and you realize,
and
like,
for
you're
me,
with all these people.
I never let it get to me. I mean, my relationships, particularly even with black people, are so natural. I mean, my lady is black. Like
He's got a Nubian queen.
I never and I went against what they said, but what they said was wrong. And because of being growing up in Coney Island, and then moving to Bensonhurst gave me the chance, because I said to myself, I grew up in Bensonhurst my whole life, maybe I would have been just like that.
Sure.
So there's neighborhoods like that all over that make that, and people who make you feel that way. So
exactly. So I don't even want to instill that in anybody.
No, I'm not.
I don't want to instill no differences, no nothing in anybody.
Right.
Nothing. And even if I tell my kid, carry your ID, why should you carry your ID? Because it's the law. You're not
But
supposed to
my
walk
friends
around
don't
New-
carry their ID.
If they get stopped, they still gonna get
My
in trouble,
friends
get a
won't get
ticket.
stopped.
I can't say that, Jack.
Their friends
You
have
can't
never been
say that.
stopped. Their friends have never been stopped.
I got profiled all the time in college and in high school growing up. Like when I would
Well, you
drive
look
back
shady,
home
though,
from
B.
work. Maybe I do look shady.
You look shady.
That's hanging out with so many black people. That's what the fuck happened.
See, hey, easy.
So look. So this is what happened is.
He's fit. Hey, look.
If you came out, what kind of weed you want? guy?
Mushrooms.
No, you know what's so funny? I've
mushroom
booked 2 things in acting. One TV show that didn't get picked up, and then a movie. And both of them I played a heroin addict.
Well, let's rewind. Did you just
Heroin
say you
addict.
were acting shady because you hung around too many black people?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Your guys are really shady.
Nah,
All of you, every single one of you. You also don't get sarcasm.
That's such a bad joke. That's such a bad
Sarcasm.
Why are you saying this?
Sarcasm goes right over your head.
First, I want
That's
to touch
another
on
thing.
something. Forget it.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something. Well, on the last episode, you said about if people.
You studied, huh?
Yeah, I did.
We
like that.
study. We
Listen, we
study
do work.
every time
It's
we
a
go
combat
with
jack shows. What the
professionals,
fuck
man.
we do?
I like that. I
Listen,
like it. It's
You
good.
said that if a black person put on a suit, he could catch a cab.
Which I
Yeah.
said was bullshit.
Why?
by the way.
Why would a black person have to put on a suit
I didn't
to
say
catch a cab?
would have to.
No, but you said everything would be okay if they put on a suit.
Which
Let me
is
tell you something. I
complete
worked on
bullshit.
Wall
What
Street.
I said-
Besides I worked on Wall Street for many years, and I will say that even though at the time I didn't even know white privilege existed,
Sure.
wearing a suit it even elevates your white privilege. Like
Absolutely.
motherfuckers think like you got money.
They call you
It's almost
sir.
like Instagram these
Not
days.
since Wolf of
Yeah.
Wall Street came out.
Well, that's
Not
true.
when
That's
Wall
true.
Street came
Well,
out.
even
Look at
Boiler
these
Room. But back then we had
coke sniffing
Boiler Room. Back then we had Boiler
It's a
Room.
rich filter.
You know, but
Pete, man, what? Tell these guys what woke you up to the concept.
No,
of
but I
white
think you're
privilege.
making a good point. I think, and I want to clarify what I said. By putting on a suit, you are asking people to stereotype you based on finance.
and class.
Finance class,
Finance and
same
class,
thing. So that's my point. Wasn't black people just put on a suit and then they're whatever. My point is, hey, if you're black but perceived as wealthy, you will get wealthy person treatment.
Well, that's a whole other
But
privilege.
that's the other thing that we're talking about.
But we're
the
talking
real
about intersectionality.
perception.
We're talking about the idea of multiple privileges.
But what if I'm wealthy, right? Mm-hmm. And I got my Jordans on,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to catch a cab, and I don't get a cab.
But you-
but
when
your brother
when
has
you-
on flip. Listen, but
Yeah.
your brother has on flip flops,
Thong slippers,
He's
not
tall. He's a
flip-flops.
handsome white guy.
First
He'll
of all,
he'll
let
get
me-
a cab.
You know why? Because he's not going to run away from that cab after not paying because he's in flip flops. He can't run. Come on, Jack. Think about the facts, Jack. You got on basketball sneakers. You're out. You're done.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you what else bothers me. I hate when we put more emphasis on what man has, and maybe I'm just being delusional now, guy from the South, than what God does for us. We
See,
got God's privilege,
but-
man.
but you gotta-
Can't no man stop
but you're
the
assuming
plan
that
God
everybody's a
has for you.
Christian.
I'm what?
You're assuming everybody's a
There are
Christian. I'm not a
people that
Christian.
aren't.
I'm not assuming nothing because I don't. Claim
I don't
no
know what
religion.
what God has put in my hands.
I don't
because
claim-
I don't believe in God.
Oh, you're an atheist.
No, I'm a Buddhist.
Buddhist. Oh, well, see, but you believe in a higher power though.
I believe in us in the interconnectedness between every individual in the universe.
Well, I believe in a higher power.
Okay.
And I believe that my higher power has granted me privilege. When you say privilege, I say, yeah, not only am I privileged, I'm blessed and I'm highly favored.
I mean, life is a privilege. Life is
Absolutely.
a
We just was
privilege.
talking about that with Robin Williams. He
Life
wake up
is
every
life
morning
is a
breathing.
privilege.
Absolutely.
Especially living in America.
yeah.
Especially
Living in
in
America,
the world,
what it-
living anywhere, life is a
What?
privilege.
I'm a country ass motherfucker from Moncks Corner, South Carolina. I didn't go to college.
What you know about that country shit?
Listen, I didn't go to college. I don't have no degrees.
I think you
can't-
got. I think you got a chip on your shoulder because your cousins beat your ass.
Listen, I barely can talk.
But I think
I
you-
make
I think-
I make 6 figures a year.
Yeah, shit, talk that shit.
Talking.
I think you got a chip on your shoulder because your cousins beat your ass.
Nah.
Now you know what else? I'm
That has nothing to do
gonna
with it.
share something else with you. When I was younger, and I graduated from law school, and I came back to Brooklyn, and I saw cats scrambling on the block, and I saw black people suffering, I kind of had this arrogance that I made it. Nothing stopped me. Why can't these black people get it together?
That's how you should feel.
Yeah.
And then
That's how you should feel.
as I started going through life, I started noticing little elements and aspects of why somebody that might not have been as qualified as I've been get a pass when I'm not getting a pass. I've worked my ass off.
And not only that,
No, listen to
destiny's
me.
not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice.
but
You
do
made the
hear what
right
I'm saying?
choices, Jack.
I had an air of arrogance because I couldn't relate to the common black dude suffering. And
You were the common black dude, though.
in my mind, I wasn't.
That's the point. That's why you can't.
That's
teach
why you
people
succeed.
that it's white privilege.
But then I started.
You
Stop, we gotta stop feeding.
Even with my
we gotta
peers.
stop feeding people this inferiority
even with my
complex.
peers,
This
even
is
with- even with
important
my
to
peers,
know, Jack.
Even with my peers at these top corporate law firms, they were the top of the top, and there was still politics going on when everybody was at the top who got promoted and why, and the bullshit reasons why certain people wouldn't. So even as you go up to the top of the glass ceiling, regardless what class you are, there's a lot of times where the ugly aspect
Listen.
of white privilege.
I don't believe that.
But what
I'm a-
about
You don't believe
I'm a
that,
stern
but
believer.
and that's fine. You don't have to believe that. You don't have to believe that.
Not only do I
do.
I'm not believing it, and I refuse to believe that I will not adopt this inferiority complex.
Nobody
that so
said
many of us have
inferior.
adopted.
I'm just saying this.
But you're speaking from a successful brother already.
Yeah, and
right?
I'm saying I didn't say anything about inferiority.
When I look on-
I'm just saying I'm looking at the terrain, and there might be a couple of.
But
pitfalls
you
that
decide
if
how you look on
realize
the
they're
terrain,
there,
Jack.
You can avoid them.
You choose the terrain.
Absolutely,
This
man.
this life
I
that we
chose the
live,
terrain.
you choose how you look at the
All terrain.
terrain.
When you
But-
change
but I
the
don't
way you
choose how
Tell me,
people
when
look
you
at me.
when you-
No,
it don't
let me
matter.
say this
when
point.
You change
It
the
don't
way
matter.
No, when you
Charlamagne,
change the
Charlamagne.
way you look at things, the things you look at change. It don't matter how
Okay,
other
when I was
motherfuckers-
okay, let me tell you the first day.
Let me make a point about this. Choose the
I
terrain.
got to say this, and then I'll give this to you. I knew nothing because my mom was an immigrant. I knew nothing about racism in this
Best
country,
possible
right?
thing you could have.
Absolutely.
My first day I remember I got a messenger job about 3 blocks away from here in the Wall Street area. I was so happy to work. I got here. I got to my job maybe about half an hour before the office opened because I was so eager to work. So I was like, you know what? I'm here half an hour early. Let me get a bagel. Let me go sit in Battery Park. Sitting in Battery Park. I'm innocent, dude. I'm sitting in Battery Park. I'm enjoying my bagel. There's an Asian woman on the other side of the park enjoying her breakfast. I'm enjoying, and I'm totally oblivious. She gets up and starts walking to her office. I get up and I start walking to my office, totally oblivious. She runs across the street into the arms of a white colleague, and I'm just walking to work. Next thing, he looks at me. He looks at me across the street. He's like, "You want to fucking rob her, you fucking nigger?" Now, I'm totally oblivious. And this is how I was treated.
White
You know what I'm saying? So,
no. Did you like my cousin?
So did I
That's
put
why
that?
you don't
So,
like
so
white
let me
people.
ask
No. I have a point to make.
Wait. Don't you dare put it out that I don't white. But I'm saying.
No. I got a point to make about this.
Charlamagne,
I
did
got a
put
point
that in
to
my
make
mind?
about this.
Did I put that in my mind?
No, but I don't give a
No.
fuck. How
No. You did put it in your mind.
How?
You absolutely did, because how often do you walk down the street behind a white lady or an Asian lady today? How often have you followed a girl downtown down the street just because you guys
It
are
was in the
No,
morning.
wait for it.
She was like 200
I don't care what.
be honest with you, Jack.
No. I got a point to make. I'm going to make this point. You put that in your head. Because here's the
Okay.
reality.
I'm just trying
You
to-
walk down the street every day, Jack,
Yeah.
and you walk behind white ladies, Asian ladies, all this. How often do they run from you?
That's true.
That happened once in your
It's not
life,
about
Jack.
running. It's not about running.
Okay, you know
Once
what?
in your
You know
life.
what's crazy? You know what's
Yeah.
crazy, Andrew? When I lived in Park Slope,
Yeah.
I was one of the few black dudes. This is when I was working at MTV, and I would come home late,
Mm-hmm.
and a white woman would be walking in front of me, and I'd see that they'd get uncomfortable.
How do you know?
Because I noticed that I could read body language, and I could see that.
Or
they
maybe
start-
you're
Listen
telling
to me.
yourself what to look for
I
in
see
life.
them shift the purse, and I see them quicken their gait. Because I'm not ignorant to body language. I would slow my gait so that they didn't feel like I was running up on
I do
them.
that too. Well, what guy doesn't do that? Girls are afraid of getting raped, regardless if it's a white guy, a black guy, any guy.
12
I'm
o'clock
like that
at
no
night.
matter who following me.
Yeah, I feel nervous.
That's because they want to drop. That's because they want to drop.
Yeah,
but keep in mind,
It wasn't cops or white people that did that, Jack.
But keep
It
in
was
mind,
black dudes
keep in
that
mind,
did it.
Andrew,
Yeah.
it's 12 o'clock at night on a Brooklyn a side street.
Yeah.
Okay, you're walking down the block behind a white woman. Okay, now put that same scenario for a black dude walking behind a white woman. You trying to tell me she's not going to feel any different in 2014?
She should not because I'm a black
Okay,
man.
but why
because it's
should
that
she?
time of
Why
night,
should she?
And it's a late and it's a guy following.
Why she?
A
What
black
about
guy.
that?
Why I gotta be a black guy?
'Cause that's
Why
what he
can't-
said.
No,
and you
I'm
agree.
asking.
Let me tell you why.
I'm
Patrice
asking.
O'Neal had the best joke about this. Because if I'm a woman, I'd rather be at home feeling a little bit racist than being raped in a fucking street.
Why? Because black men are the only people that rape.
White or black.
Okay.
White or black. I would rather, if I'm thinking about my safety, right, and I'm a woman walking down the street, I would rather feel a little bit racist and be safe than be raped and being open-minded. So I don't care if it's white, black, or whatever. Girls do that all the fucking time. You know how often that's
I
happened with
agree,
me?
man.
Okay.
I feel like
And I'm fucking pale, heroin looking like you guys said. I don't look like a fucking threat, apparently, but to a woman, I could be a threat. My point is, we prime ourselves in this world. If I say this to you guys, if I say, yo, you know my brother Greg, I think my brother Greg might be gay, right? If I just put that in your heads, all of a sudden he's going to be out there and you're going to see Greg kind of slap somebody 5 and then rub his shoulders, and all of a sudden you'll be like, yo,
he's gay.
Yo, is Greg gay? I'm putting that in your mind. And what I'm saying is, when we start telling kids that being black is a disadvantage, people are out for you, the system is out for you, we poison their heads. We go, fuck,
Okay.
I'm going to look for this shit.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm going to look
I
for
really
this
believe
shit.
this. I really believe this. In 2008, right, Barack Obama became the president of the United States of America. I saw the shift. I saw people say things, black people say things like, I can finally tell my kids that they could be anything in this country. I'm talking about from old to young, people felt that way. I don't know what's happened in the last 8 years, but psychologically, they've put this victimology back in us to where we feel inferior again. I saw an article yesterday that said, blacks don't belong in America. How can you feel like
said that?
I can't even remember who wrote the article, and they had the picture of the guy in Ferguson who had his hands up, and they had a bunch of guns on him. The dude had dreads or whatever, and it was like, blacks don't belong in America. I'm like, yo, how did we go from we can do anything and be anything, we got a black president, to now we don't belong in America?
You don't think that there's also a backlash from the general white population now that we have a black president, and
Absolutely.
they feel that they're losing rights.
Absolutely.
And some primal feelings might be coming up about blacks are taking over, and we've got to take the country back. And the tea. You don't see that going on?
Sure, but not enough. Not to discredit the whites that
Not
put.
enough. I mean, look at
discredit the whites that put Barack Obama in the office.
true. Yeah, think about
Black
that. Think
people
about
act
that.
like
Think
they're
about-
half of the country.
At
They're a
all.
small percentage of the country, and that's why I'm
And we make up a
insulted.
bigger
That's why I'm
percentage of
insulted
the
when you go,
prison
all we got
population.
is us.
Right.
I am insulted
Why?
by that
Why?
because I don't think you really would stand by that.
No, I like
no.
that statement.
No. Let me explain why. No, I'm going to explain that. Charlamagne, let me explain why.
One second.
Let me make my point.
All right, hurry up, please.
You made the last one.
No. I'm insulted by that because you could say all we got is us, but I don't think that you would say that to a white firefighter that ran into the fucking Twin Towers and pulled out a black guy that was working there, and then he ended up losing his life. I don't
That's his
think.
job.
I don't think you would
That's
say.
his job.
It's not his job.
That's a
Yeah, but
fireman's
not his
job to
That's not his
protect,
job.
to serve, and
That's
protect
not
the
his job.
people in
That's
the fire.
we think it's the cops' job to protect themselves.
It
too. But you
is
see
their
what-
job.
You
They
see what
took
some
an
of them
oath.
do.
Protect
They
and
took
shoot.
an oath,
But you see- but they don't have to
okay,
do
let
that.
me clarify this because I spoke about this last night on my show.
sitting
Some
there-
people are being
yeah.
offended when I say all we got is us, right? Okay, I've spoken to a lot of older Jews when they were being persecuted in New York City, and they said, "Listen, with regard to us huddling up, all we got is us. Let's get our shit together. Let's get our economy together, and let's start shifting our neighborhoods so that the system works for us." They said all we got is us. If you look at the Chinese community, they don't give a fuck about anybody else. They're concerned about themselves. I think what has happened, and I'm not saying that integration is a bad thing, but once we got integrated, I think we really forgot that at the same time, we have to huddle up. So I'm not excluding anybody, but every other community has had themselves in terms of bettering themselves.
Malcolm
And
X-
I'm saying the same thing. All we got is us right
But
now.
you're
Malcolm X,
asking
let me
for them
get my
to do
point.
it as a race and not a religion.
Hey.
You don't have a unifying thing.
Listen,
you don't.
But some people look
you
at,
don't.
at being
listen.
Jewish as a race.
Let me talk.
But it is.
Let me talk.
But
Let me talk.
there is a
Let me talk.
unifying thing for Jews. You just said race is a
everybody
social
can talk. If
concept.
everybody else can huddle up, why can't black
Hold on,
people?
Because you're
Exactly.
not having
Okay.
anything to huddle up
No,
on.
Let me talk. Let me speak for the black people.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Malcolm X.
You're crazy.
Time out. Listen.
You're crazy.
Malcolm
B.
X said,
Yeah.
until we have unity amongst each other,
Yes.
we can't think of being equal with nobody
Thank you.
else. I'm not
That's
mad
the
at you.
same thing.
Time out. I'm not mad at you for saying all that we got is us, because I do feel like black people do need to have community leaders that deal with
Somebody
black,
uplift them.
that deal with black
What's wrong with
community
that?
issues.
What-
But
what's
I'm gonna tell
wrong?
you, let me tell you the problem I have.
Right.
The problem I have is when we do bring up the issues that are affecting the black community, y'all be like, don't talk about that right now. If I bring
Wait,
up
who said that?
if I
Who's
bring up how
y'all?
black people are killing each other way more
Bring
than
that
police
up. Bring that
officers,
up.
y'all say no, don't talk about that
I'll
right
say,
now.
I'll say bring that up. I'll say bring that up. But when you look at a system where kids as young, black kids as young as 3 years old, I mean, there's a study that shows that even little kids in kindergarten and in preschool black kids are being treated much harsher than their white peers.
What that got to do with black kids killing each other?
That's my point.
Early.
Yeah, but
What that got to do with it,
starts
Jack?
early with regard to self-worth. If you look at the doll
So
doll
why
test where black kids
so
don't
how
want
come when Jazz Fly puts on Twitter, black people have to start valuing themselves so other
We
people
do.
value them?
We do.
Everybody jumps down their throat.
I
Shut
don't-
the fuck up. They don't have to value themselves.
Because the
Even
truth-
if I value myself, a black cop still gonna kill me.
Because the truth hurts, but because there's self-hate in the black community and there's white privilege, that doesn't mean that both of them, once again, exist. You know, they both can mutually exist. You know what I'm
Where's
saying?
the responsibility, Jack?
Where is the
there is a
personal
lot.
responsibility?
Where? I don't see it.
All we got is us. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But why? Where is the responsibility?
responsibility.
But how are you taking responsibility?
Because I'm saying,
I've
listen-
yet to hear you mention Chicago. I've yet to hear you mention games like the knockout game. I've yet to hear you mention the glorification.
You don't hear me
of-
talking about we need to start buying
in
real
this
estate?
conversation.
You don't hear me talking
No,
about
no, no,
buying real
no.
estate?
Jack,
You don't hear me
Jack,
talking
Jack,
economic
Jack,
development?
You ignoring it. I've yet
I'm
to
not
hear you
ignoring
talking
it.
to
I've yet
behavioral
to,
level.
What about glorification?
I'm not ignoring it.
What about glorification in the community of horrible shit?
Yeah.
The glorification of drug dealing.
That
The
exists,
glorification
but that
of
exists
gang
because
rights.
there's miseducation in the community. If you look at Chicago, last year they shut down a slew of public schools.
Yeah, I remember.
that were supposed to service the black community, and those funds went into the prison system. That's a problem. If you don't see how shutting down what's supposed to be essential for your community affects your psyche and affects your well-being and it affects your sense of self-worth.
But they're so vulnerable.
After centuries in this country,
No.
dude,
You.
when you look
to
at the
me,
images
that shows me you don't have a lot of confidence in black youth.
That's how I feel.
No,
too.
I
feel like you don't believe in black
I
youth.
was one of those black youth who was running the streets.
Right.
And I always say, in order to change your life, you have to change your lifestyle. I chose to live a negative lifestyle. My father was a construction
But you
worker.
chose
My mother
to.
was an English
a lot
teacher.
Of kids, we had a cop.
You
on,
choose to shoot
we had a
somebody.
I
cop-
chose to
we
shoot
had-
at people in the
we
fight
had
and
a
all that dumb
cop-
shit.
we had
I
a-
chose to sell dope, Jack.
Allegedly.
We had a cop on our show, yes, an ex-cop who was a member of the feared Supreme Team gang in New York City. He said when he was growing up, their family was so poor. Their family was so poor. He didn't know where to get a job. It was a single parent household. The only thing he saw available as a kid, not knowing right or wrong, the only way he could make money was to sell crack. Now I don't know.
That's
Okay,
bullshit,
listen to me.
Jack.
But how can you say that to
Bullshit.
somebody? Because that's their environment. It's nature and nurture.
I came from nature. I come from the same environment.
But
I got felonies.
no, you didn't come from the same environment.
Same shit.
Your father
rode
worked
in the fucking
No, no.
trailer.
Your father
And
worked.
he was a coke addict, an alcoholic, and he
you
sold
sold
drugs.
drugs.
And no, my
And you
father.
sold drugs.
My
What about-
father-
But you sold drugs.
What about
Not
Mexicans?
You
Not
sold
because-
drugs.
What about
And he was a
Mexicans?
Cowboy fan.
It wasn't-
What about no?
Now,
What about
You know what you guys are, man?
Mexicans.
You guys,
Now,
I'm not
forget
throwing
about
no shots.
Mexicans.
Mexicans?
There's a little
Yo,
brilliance there,
yo.
but you guys are fucking
You
idiots.
gotta bring this in for a
Mexicans.
second.
You guys
gotta bring
are
this in for a second.
idiots.
You guys are going crazy here. Hold
You're
up.
idiots.
Hold on, hold on.
Mexicans.
Slow down for
You
one
got
second.
idiots in the building.
Illegal immigrants come to this country. They succeed. They not only support themselves, they support their families back home on making minimum wage. How is it
Our
possible?
moderator wants us to take a break.
How is it
We're not getting
possible?
anywhere.
But wait,
No,
wait,
what I want to know
be-
is don't
Let
give
me
me
do
any
this.
fucking
Let me do this break.
excuses.
Don't do it. All right, hold on. Let's take a break for a second and reset.
Tune into the Combat Jack show.
This come on. This what the fuck we gonna do. This what the fuck we all gonna do. We gonna stop talking over each other.
Yeah.
Because we all got valid points we want to make. If you want to make valid points, raise your fucking hands like we in fucking third grade.
All right,
Because everybody's
done.
talking over
Bring
each
your number
other,
2
and
pencil.
it sounds stupid as shit. Okay? Now, let's take a break. This portion of the show is brought to you by Hulu Plus, where you watch shows on your schedule because Hulu Plus has all the current season episodes of your favorite shows.
And even better, you can watch them at any time, anywhere, because Hulu Plus works on pretty much any streaming device you already own. Laptop, desktop, iPad, Xbox, Apple TV, you name it. So whether you're on your way to work, pretending to study in the library, acting like you're taking notes in class, for $7.99 a month, you're going to watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it.
All right, now personally, me, Charlamagne the God, I've been using Hulu to catch up on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, seeing who the Roots were rocking with on Jimmy Fallon, and also staying up on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. You know, clearly I love the ratchet shit, okay?
You can also use Hulu Plus to check out its new show, The Hot Wives of Orlando, a parody of The Real Housewives. It stars Casey Wilson, Kristen Shaw, Angela Kinsey, with a cast of hilarious women.
Oh, that's real. That's real, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like it's not a real show, but The Hot Wives of Orlando is a real show. That's funny. My aunt is from Orlando.
Is she hot?
No, not at all.
Well.
Not even close.
We won't be seeing her on season 1.
Absolutely not. Okay, again, it's just $7.99 a month, but right now the Brilliant Idiots have a 2-week free trial going on.
Free.
Free 99.
Free, everybody.
Just go to huluplus.com/idiots to sign up. That's huluplus.com/idiots to sign up.
But if you go to the site, don't be an idiot and just sign up. Make sure you use huluplus.com/idiots so you get that free trial.
And remember, Hulu Plus isn't just current season shows like Colbert Report. He's from South Carolina. I love that. Gang related, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and Family Guys. It's also classic shows like American Dad, The Good Wife, which is our friend Chris Monroe's guilty pleasure. Everybody loves Chris. And the family that all families need to emulate, The Cosby Show.
So to check out all that and more, get your free trial today at huluplus.com/idiots.
Yep, Brilliant Idiots. We back. Charlamagne the God here. Now, we was just having a conversation. And I always tell people that destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. I grew up low income, dirt road, Mounts Corner, South Carolina, population less than 8,000. My parents did not steer me to make the wrong choices that I made. When I started selling dope and stuff, it wasn't because I had to. It's because the people that I was around was doing it.
It was nurture.
It was nurture, so I started doing it. But it came a point in my life, after going to jail a few times, I said to myself, man, I don't want to live like this no more. You know why? Because I started seeing my older cousins. My father used to always tell me this: if you keep living the way you live, you're going to end up in jail, dead, or broke sitting under a tree somewhere. And I decided I didn't want to be either of those three.
But you were very fortunate.
Why am I fortunate?
That your father was there to say, listen.
Very true.
I mean, that, you know, you got to understand, like I said, in a lot of these situations, a lot of these kids are growing up in broken households. And a lot of these kids don't have someone to at least plant the seed in their home.
The information is there,
of a
Jack.
moral.
The information is there.
But information is
there. There's nothing new about selling crack.
But
You're going to end up in jail or end up dead.
But you're not listening to me. At least your father was there. You just said it. The turning point was when your father had that conversation with you one time.
But it wasn't just my father. I had father figures like Professor Robert Evans, who wasn't my blood.
But that was you were.
Whose
fortunate.
responsibility is it to be there then? Who are we going to hold these fathers responsible that aren't there for their kids?
The fathers are responsible.
So then why aren't we holding them responsible for leaving the kids?
I am responsible. I am holding fathers
but there's not
responsible.
fathers in every household.
Just because the issue exists doesn't mean that I'm holding.
But when
the
Bill
other
Cosby
people-
came out trying to hold them responsible, the black community attacked Bill
Wait, but
Cosby.
when you say the black community, are you saying a couple of voices that were heard, or the entire black community?
I'm saying a couple voices that were
Okay,
heard.
so don't say the black community.
Okay, fine.
Right? You understand
Sure.
what
No,
I'm saying?
fair.
Because I
Fair.
agreed with Bill Cosby, and I agreed with President Obama when he said black people needed to take more responsibility. But I also agreed with President Obama when he addressed white privilege. He said, "Yo, as a black, if I had a kid, a son, he might be Trayvon." He addressed that. So it doesn't, like I keep saying, one.
I don't think that was him addressing
Let
white
me talk,
privilege.
man.
I don't think that was him saying if he had a son, the son would be black, and that he could be in that situation. Joe Zimmerman was an asshole, dog. He was an evil motherfucker. He was looking for trouble that night.
Dude.
Period.
Listen.
Come on.
Yeah,
So
how do you
let me
know
ask you
that?
something.
How we don't know?
Charlamagne.
To me, he sounded like an asshole was looking for trouble.
In your heart of hearts, if Trayvon was Brandon with blonde hair, would that have happened?
Did Brandon look like Machine Gun Kelly? Answer the question.
it's
Did Brandon look like Machine Gun Kelly?
Or better, did he look like a
Trayvon-
biker
Brandon look
gang?
like Mac Miller?
Did he look like a Sons of Anarchy guy?
Okay, once again.
No,
once
if he looked like a biker
Charlamagne,
gang
answer-
dude.
real.
I'm not talking about the tattoos on the neck. If he was a white kid walking home with a Hollister T-shirt on, a Hollister hoodie on, do you think that would have happened?
I don't know, Jack. To be totally honest, because I can tell you a story about yesterday in Dallas. An unarmed white man got gunned down by cops.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
not
know
a
what
epi-
he was
it's- but
doing.
it's
I don't
not-
know what he looked
But it's
like.
not at epidemic proportions right now, where white people are getting gunned down by the police.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I
mean, do you agree?
And I know I agree with you. And I know
And
everybody.
I got to keep saying, I'm not taking responsibility.
Hold on, epidemic
Andrew,
proportions.
No, that's what I'm about to get into.
What
Andrew.
the fuck?
That's what I'm about to get into.
Jack,
Andrew,
it can't be.
when
this is
black people are getting killed every week by cops.
by black people.
So what's the real?
By cops.
by black people
Black-
every
That's
single
also a
week.
problem also.
No,
Just
that's the epidemic.
That is the epidemic, Jack.
That is the
both of them
epidemic,
are
Jack.
an epidemic.
No, it's
Chicago.
not.
Both.
No, they're
It's
not.
fucked up. Time out. If you look at the number wise,
Yeah.
compared to what black people that are killing black people, compared to cops that are killing black people, we're doing it at least 7 or 8 times
Of
more than
course,
rate.
that is a
So what's the
problem.
real
So
epidemic?
why are we even talking?
Both of them.
No.
Both of them. We're hunted on both sides, B. You gonna tell me we're not hunted on
We're
both
definitely
sides?
hunted on both sides.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
But wait a minute.
Why the
Absolutely.
fuck are y'all telling me one has to exist?
But I'm
and
gonna tell you,
the
I'm
other
gonna
here's
tell you
the-
my problem.
what are
I'm gonna
the
tell you my
let me
problem.
say
It's a big fucking problem.
What are the
on both sides.
ramifications? What are the ramifications for a cop if you know that black people are killing black people in epic proportions? Do you think that doesn't trickle into the psyche of a police officer?
But
you
but
don't.
that-
If
a
white people
police
are not
officer
killing white people,
takes an oath. He takes a constitutional
I don't-
oath to protect everyone.
What about my brother's keeper? What about it takes a village?
And-
I come from a
but both
neighborhood.
of them
I
is-
come from a place where my mother used to leave the door open unlocked. That's how much we trusted
and
each
that's
other
great.
as black
we
people.
need more of that also.
So how can
why
y'all-
don't y'all understand? I'm saying you guys are right when you talk about the black community, but you can't tell me, oh, it's just the black people's fault.
who's
I
saying
ain't saying
that?
it's the black people's
Nobody's
fault. I never
saying
said
that.
You're saying,
Who said that?
but you're talking about police brutality, but look at the black people. So you're saying,
Jack, you say
one-
all we got is us.
Yes, we do.
So if all we got is us, why are we looking for the system to treat us better than we treat ourselves?
I didn't say we're looking for the system. I'm saying we have.
You
to
saying
look
these
out-
cops take an oath? What the fuck does that
Yeah,
mean?
but what
I'm
about-
saying
what
we
about
have to
the-
look at ourselves?
What about the
Charlamagne.
people? What about especially the black people who are not doing this, who are going, who are doing on the right track, have no leader to look up to? There's a lot of kids. Forget about black. A lot of kids that have no parents. Right? So they need to find somebody. Like you were saying, you had this dude to look to. You know, whether it be an after school guy, a teacher
had that.
to look to. When you say all we got is us, right? I don't see nothing wrong with somebody in a black community stepping up and trying to be a leader, trying to be a role model.
agree.
Because keep in mind,
That's
keep in
what I'm
mind,
saying.
keep
That's
in
you're
mind.
offended by
Keep
that.
hold on, I
That's
gotta get this
great.
point
You're
across.
offended by that.
But keep in mind,
I'm not
wait,
he's
offended
saying
by
what
that.
I'm saying.
no, but
You
keep in
guys are-
mind. But hold
I'm
on, hold
offended
on.
by all we got is us. I'm not offended
Why?
by that
Just
statement.
keep in mind, all
I'll
we
tell
got
you
is
after
us.
him.
I'm
I'll
gonna
tell
tell you
you
why.
after him.
Because
Yeah,
keep in mind, I see it all the time. I see black people tweet and Instagram all the time. Yo, I don't feel. I feel like it's worthless to be a black man living
And
in
that's
this world.
fucked up.
And I see it all the time.
That's so fucked up.
And you
That's
know
what
what?
I'm saying.
People like Combat and other people. It's not only Combat. Need to step up and need to be the like you say. We can sit here and talk about all different aspects, but why not? All we got is us. Because you know what? They're not going to listen to you. Some people. They're not going to relate to you.
That's
Some
the-
people.
that's the
When I was
vice.
away, hold on. When I was away, I got
that's your
mandated to it.
perception that is divisive.
It is divisive.
But
But I wanna
I'm not being divisive, Charlamagne.
Yes, you are.
That
I'm
is
not being
divisive.
It is. Whether you're meaning
You
to
can't say
purposely or
all
not,
we
it's
got is
divisive.
us.
Okay, but why is every other community huddled up and saying all we
We're
got
not.
is us?
White people aren't saying that. I'm a white guy. I've never been invited to this meeting where we go, hey, all we're going to do
So
is
are you
hold down
invited-
black
but
people.
Because you guys have
Are you
white
invited-
privilege.
are you invited to
Because
this-
it's all you got is us.
We got privilege, Jack.
Jack, you're telling
We all got
you're-
privilege.
Listen, you're telling me this as if you're a white guy. I can't tell you what it's like to be black.
But you
Don't
try,
tell
though.
me what it's like to be
Schulz
white.
does try.
Yeah.
Schulz
No,
will
I
try to tell
know,
you
but
how
at
to
the
be
end of the
black.
day,
Listen,
too.
I've heard you talk about
I
black
will-
people should
Yes.
do this,
Oh yeah.
black people should
Oh,
do
and
that.
black people should take responsibility for what's happening in the community. Black people should definitely take responsible, and black people should go, hey, listen, if we're glorifying the thug life and
once
stuff
again,
like
once
that,
again,
yeah,
once
yeah.
again,
And
once
cops
again,
and white
once
cops
again,
need to
once
stop
again,
being scared of
And-
black
once
men.
again,
and white cops need to stop.
Once
Yeah.
again, it's all nature and nurture, right? But if you look at what's going on right now, even where you work, Charlamagne, and even where you work at MTV.
Sure.
I work at MTV.
I worked at MTV.
Oh, let's be clear.
Listen,
I work at Clear Channel
listen,
and MTV.
listen,
I'm very
I worked at
privileged.
MTV.
No, let's be clear about that.
I remember
I work
when-
at Clear Channel and MTV. I'm
when I
very
worked at
privileged.
MTV, they were doing a rollout of their new lineup.
Sure, yeah.
And they had all these shows like The Hills and this and that, and all these beautiful white people having a great time. The only show that I saw that MTV invested in with regard, the only show was a show called Juvies. And I was insulted that this corporation was going to put that image out. That the only show that we're investing our money in is a negative image of black people. And it didn't fly. But that's what they invested their money in. So we got to look also at these corporations we work at
Sure.
that also promote these images.
How about this?
I mean, Hot 97 in Power. What images are being promoted?
Let's
The
talk about
black
MTV.
The images that people are
Charlamagne,
putting out there.
with me and
Yo,
you-
I talking about. Let me finish this. People act like radio ain't nothing but a conduit. It don't start with radio. It's these guys that are going in the studio recording these songs. The consumer is eating these songs up, and we play them because the consumer wants them.
But is that right? Because you work
What's
at a
the
system.
problem?
You work at a system that's selling that crack
To
right now.
promote that, you.
But
You're
who's
selling that crack.
Who's cooking the crack? And who's
But you're
creating?
selling that crack.
Who's cooking it?
You're selling it.
Who's cooking it?
The labels.
So why are you blaming us?
But it's a system.
You can't blame us.
But you're part of the responsibility, dude.
You know
It's
what
not
my
you
responsibility
personally. If you
is?
talk-
Talking about, you know what my responsibility is?
To yourself.
To get on that radio and talk.
Right.
And who's the guy that's on there saying, that's whack? Who's the guy on there saying, now he shouldn't be rapping about that? Who's the guy on there telling these other girls, these reality show stars, that they hoes and sluts, and that's not the image I want out there, black girls? I'm doing my job.
But even that
to the
whole-
point where motherfuckers is attacking me.
even the concept of
That's
saying
true.
You know what I'm saying? Physically attacking
that's because
me.
you're not giving people drops, man.
No, but
Whatever it
but
is.
we
Give a
need
drop.
we need
They
more
trying
people.
to get me out of here.
But they.
I've been fired 4 times in radio. I ain't supposed to be here. Let's be clear on that. This is the 7th radio station I
once
work
again,
at.
Once again, you have a once again.
Say it, I'm blessed.
You've been so fortunate.
No, not fortunate. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored, and I'm
fortunate.
privileged.
And also,
Cheer.
when you look
And
at
I don't think no other way.
when you look at your pedigree, you talked about your pops, you talked about this professor. Even in radio, you had one of the best people nurture you in radio, and that's Wendy Williams.
I've been privileged to
You
have
come-
so
you
many.
come from a
Wendy
pedigree.
Williams.
You come from a pedigree,
Mike
Charlamagne.
Love, Cadillac Jack.
That's a pedigree
Dennis
that
Clark.
you can't ignore. That you were fortunate or blessed, or whatever you were to have.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You read The Outliers, right?
Yeah.
People think when they read The Outliers, they think
Love it, Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell. They talk about the 10,000 hour theory. That's only one chapter of that book.
Mm-hmm.
The whole book is based around these 4 principles that Malcolm Gladwell says equal success:
Mm-hmm.
talent, preparation, which is putting in your 10,000 hours, opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and privilege. When you're talented and you put in that work,
Mm-hmm.
it creates opportunities for you. When you get put in certain opportunities, you get put in a privileged position to learn a thing.
So look
too.
at Michael Ferguson.
My talent,
Let's look
my,
at
no, hold on, my
Michael
talent
Brown.
and my hard work
Right.
have created these opportunities, which have put me in a privileged
So
position.
let's look at what's going on in Ferguson right now with Michael Brown. He is a kid that fought hard to get into college. He was supposed to start college this Monday. He was opening up his privilege. He got gunned down.
Tragedy.
Tragedy.
He got gunned down by.
happenstance?
He got gunned down by.
By happenstance, because he was a black dude
By
I
a
don't know
piece
why
of
it
shit.
happened.
Here's the
in
question.
a black neighborhood.
I'm going to
I
say
don't know
something.
why it happened.
like what? Like he worked hard, but the American dream didn't work for him.
Okay. Hey, here's something.
How do you explain?
Circumstance.
It's circumstance,
A
but a
evil
lot of
motherfucker
circumstances,
gunned him down.
are happening to a certain people of a
to
certain hue
black
than
people.
other people. A lot of and you got black people that are working to get these privileges.
You know, it's been more people killed in Chicago. More black people killed by other black people in Chicago in the past 7 months than there was cops killing black people last year.
But you're
True,
looking
but
at
it's-
hopeless kids. You're
all
looking
across
at
America?
hopeless kids. I've spoken to Bloods.
You're
and I'm
making
like,
excuses for him.
You're
No,
making-
listen,
it's
You
evil.
just started making excuses.
A cop killing a
Hopeless
young black
kids.
man is evil. Black people killing other black
Is
people is just
evil.
all evil.
I'm
Death is
speaking to
death,
kids.
man.
I'm speaking to kids. I'm like, yo, I came out this hood. I came out of Crown Heights. I made it. And there's this lapse. There's this fucking lapse when I'm talking. Well, you ain't banging. You don't understand. And there's this
You
lapse.
goddamn right I'm not banging.
There's this lapse where they're not understanding what the fuck I'm talking about. Where does that trauma come from?
It goes back
It's
to
trauma.
listen. It
Yeah.
goes back to
It
me.
is trauma.
I'm
Yeah, it
telling
is.
you, listen.
It's trauma.
It
baby.
is.
You got
It
a lot of
goes-
kids. You got a lot of kids that are going to kids from 3 years old and up, systematically, that are going through post-traumatic stress.
Sure.
You know, dude. It's a system that when
So
you're closing schools.
Why are we instilling in these kids?
I'm not instilling. I'm talking to these kids to change it.
Why are we telling kids that they're not equal?
That
is white
who
privilege.
said that? Wait, Charlamagne, where the fuck has anybody said that white privilege means you're not equal?
That's what people get out of it.
No,
Jack.
that's what you got out of it.
No.
What do you say?
No.
That's what you got out of it.
But we aren't. No, we aren't equal.
No.
No. We aren't equal because you're implying that I have more opportunities than you, and therefore
I'm saying we're equal.
But
I'm saying we're fucking equal. I might be more qualified than you, but because of the system, you're getting a pass. I'm not saying.
So within the
I'm not
system,
saying we're unequal.
Within the
I'm saying
system,
I'm
we're
unequal.
unequal.
Huh?
Within the system,
No,
we're unequal.
I'm saying you're getting a pass. So therefore, I'm
If
not being
I get a
treated-
pass and you don't get a
I'm
pass,
not being
doesn't that
treated
mean
as
that
your
we're not
equal.
equal?
With you, Jack, 'cause I
Yeah,
think-
we're not being
I'm-
treated as equal. That's all he's saying.
Combat Jack, it's something going
But
on.
I'm not saying that people see. There's a difference between being treated unequally,
Absolutely.
and being unequal.
I understand
And
that.
that's
I
my
understand that
argument.
difference, and that makes sense. Yeah.
There's something going on that I'm not sure that you see,
Right.
but I've been seeing it, especially the past few weeks. People are developing a severe inferiority complex. All people, black
I see
people.
that. I think people, I
see
see
it.
black people getting fed up.
No, they are getting fed up,
They're
but not
fed
only
up.
they getting fed up, they feeling like I can't do nothing in America. Even if I'm a lawyer or a doctor
But what does that
or
tell?
whatever,
And then
a
you
cop
think
can
this
still
is
kill
just
me.
from? You think this is just from people saying white privilege exists, therefore they're incorporating that, or you think there's a myriad?
I believe I believe we're practicing victimology. That's what I believe, and I think we need to stop practicing victimology and
Even
start
though
thinking
there's a
like
lot
the
of
victim.
people that are being victimized.
Yeah, but it's not only
Yes,
victimology.
and we're victimizing each other, but nobody wants to talk about that.
But it's a whole.
What do you
soup.
want to say, Pete?
It's a
'Cause
whole soup.
everybody's ignoring you. What
came
do you
first,
want to
the
say?
chicken or the egg?
It's not
Jack,
about
let
it.
him talk.
It's not about ignoring me. I mean, there's a couple of points to make, but you know, I mean, listen.
I'm listening to you.
No,
Pete.
it's not about listening.
This is gonna be one of those shows where nothing's accomplished other than some good information with this.
Well, I mean, there's gems. There's gems going to be.
Exactly.
There's gems, and hopefully, you know, this is the after school that's not provided in schools anymore.
Absolutely.
You know, but in defense of what Combat was saying, what I feel is that there's not enough people that are on the front line that can be relatable to people. Like when you say speaking to bloods, listen, I've been away. They ain't listening to him. Okay, he's been a lawyer. He's wore turtlenecks when he's there. Who knows what the fuck he was doing? They're not listening to him. You need another blood. You understand? That is neutral now, or that was there. Like, listen, when I was away for 3.5 years. I spent one of those years in a box. Okay, I was afforded the luxury. Okay, of coming home and staying home. I was invited back to jail. It was one of the most amazing things. I brought my mother and father with me on a little plane to Buffalo, okay, because it was amazing to walk through those gates, and those COs still profiled me. But I walked through those gates, and I spoke to those kids, and I said, listen, okay, I'm out here doing my thing. Okay, right. And I was just sitting in that fucking chair that you're sitting. And you know what? Afterwards, the mothers came to me. They came to me. I spoke to them. I still keep in touch with some of these kids because they related to me. Mm-hmm. If you know, in the black community, and I can't speak for a black community because I'm Italian or white, as you say. But you know, at the end of the day, this is what's needed: more people to step up to do that type of stuff. And then at the same time, that's what's important. Mm-hmm. That's what's important. And back to, you know, with white privilege, for me, you know, just to explain to people, because I don't know, maybe they just think that I'm only sticking up for like going against everything. But white privilege, I learned. We had an episode of the Combat Jack show where we had Torre on from MSNBC, and he was talking about all this white stuff and white stuff and white stuff.
And you were getting mad.
And I was getting mad. It was driving me crazy. He was like, you know, the white person will go for a job and they're clearly a dummy, and I'm not getting a job. And I was like, why are they a dummy? That's first of all. Why can't they just? And I didn't understand what he was coming at, and you know, and we started to go at it. And I started to,
heated. It was more heated.
It was very heated, and it was and it's something special, just like this is special because open race conversations don't happen often.
Absolutely,
okay?
You can't have them without.
This is a very unique thing we're all doing right now. Yeah.
So
that's what we do, man.
So I finally realized that, you know, that I gave him the whole Italian thing, and he's like, "You're white," you know, and I gave him the whole Italian thing, but
that's why it was so much animosity towards me.
But the point I'm trying to make is that in this day and age, I learned that, you know, and I think you mentioned this before, or even on a previous episode, that, you know, I didn't know I had white privilege because he said there's a difference of having white privilege and a difference of accessing your white privilege. Motherfucker, get on your game and start accessing. That's what Torre told me. And as you know, I didn't realize until I looked back and learned on a lot of stuff. I learned.
That's a very true point, and I feel like what Pete said. A lot of people don't know they have privilege, period, because of their circumstances. You can transcend your circumstances.
Yes.
And I agree with you.
Stop listening to the fucking hood, dog.
But I've been agreeing with you. We're saying the same thing when you say that.
It's not personal.
Right.
I'm
not saying it's personal.
I'm just speaking.
I'm saying I agree with you.
We can transcend our circumstances. We don't have to look at a white person and say he's better than us because of his white skin. Or he's going to have more opportunities because of his white skin. What God has for you is for you. You just got to get up and make a choice to go get it. It's just that simple. And Destiny's not a matter of chance; it's a matter of choice.
And I think that's really what I mean when I'm saying to people that obviously are suffering on a greater level. I'm like, yo, we got to get up. We got to huddle up. We got to start building our own communities. All we got is us. That's what I mean.
But can you see how that could be misconstrued?
No, I understand this, which is why I addressed it yesterday. I was like, listen, to our white comrades out there, I mean, there are many people, white people, that understand what's going on with black people. And I accept, I embrace them. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, I'm trying to wake my people up. Like, listen, get up. All we got is us.
Like, listen,
if you're in a
but
game.
you don't only have you, because we're here, man.
Yo,
Shut the fuck up.
Yo, dude, that shit is so condescending.
Yo, you don't.
That shit is so condescending.
No.
Let me ask you, what do you, Andrew, what are you going to do? What are you going to do for the
Nah, that's my Schulz.
What are you going to do for the black community, Andrew?
I'm going to tell them, I'm going to keep it real with the black community. I'm going to tell the black community,
You tell them
need
to
to
put on a suit.
You need to take responsibility for your fucking actions and stop blaming the system of black women is.
A white man saying that to the black
I am
community
absolutely aware of that.
You know
that's the truth, though. If it's the truth, why does it matter?
Listen,
because once again,
so they shouldn't
the
believe our
history
truth.
of this country.
Time out. They shouldn't believe our truth when we say what white people need to do. Then,
dude, I don't know.
They shouldn't believe us.
What
Jack.
you're trying to rationalize? I'm saying
he's making a good point.
I'm saying the incendiary.
If Schulz as a white man can't tell black people to take personal responsibility,
then how can a black man tell white people? Exactly.
What are we saying to white people?
To take personal responsibility.
I'm not saying
stop being afraid of our people.
I'm not saying
profiling. He's not saying you.
I never said that to white people.
I'm just saying in general.
I don't understand these
to stop
arguments
being
you're
afraid
making
of our
about
black
other people.
kids. To stop profiling.
I'm not here to argue for other people. I'm here to argue for myself.
Okay.
So then, who are you asking to stop profiling?
I'm sorry.
Who are you asking to stop profiling your kids?
I'm not asking anybody to stop profiling. I'm telling my kids to take
Hold on,
responsibility.
Jack, what the fuck are you talking about right now?
I'm telling my kids.
Who are you asking to stop shooting black kids?
Cops.
Okay.
And I'm asking cops and black people
because I pay cops to protect us.
And who are you?
Sure.
And who are you saying to stop profiling?
Cops.
You don't have. You can't say that. It sounds too condescending when you say that because you're black.
Because you're not a cop.
But how do you know what the cops?
You're not a cop.
Racist.
You can't say that. You're not in law enforcement.
Why not?
You're not in law enforcement.
But I'm a.
And by you saying,
but I'm a law.
Say white cop.
I'm a law.
Say racist white cop.
I'm a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen. I can't say that these public services that I pay for shouldn't be applied equally to my community.
It sounds condescending, man.
You sound crazy.
That's how you sounded when you told.
That's what I'm saying. Why? Here's the problem.
Do you
is
understand how offensive it sounds when a white man says to you, "Get your shit together"?
Why?
Why?
Why is that offensive?
If a black man,
get your fucking shit together.
Get my
What's
shit
wrong with
together. That does not bother me.
Tell me, hey, you know what I tell white cops? They're shooting black kids. Get your racist fucking shit together, you piece of fucking shit. You dirtbag motherfucker. If I saw you, I'll punch you in your face.
When somebody looks at a white person and they look at the advantages that white people have had.
Yeah, I might not say
white privilege.
Yeah, I'm asking
white privilege. White privilege at its finest.
I'm not saying
Combat. This is white privilege.
That might have been me exercising some white
Yo,
privilege.
what I want to know is this. I want to know is. Yeah, last week you brought up that Combat has fucked this black community over.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
He don't know.
What I meant was, and this is just from the breakfast.
I'm sorry.
We were trying to avoid.
I want to know. I want to know. Just like I wanted to know why black people put on a suit and they could catch a cab because of Charlamagne. When we go downstairs, we'll put a suit on you.
Accurate.
Brooks Brothers. We're gonna put a Brooks Brothers on you.
That was a class thing. We addressed that.
No, we addressed it. I'm just saying. So this is what I want to know too.
And my point is.
Alexander Nash custom, by the way.
Okay. Nothing wrong with Brooks Brothers, though. Okay, so what I was implying by that is basically I was listening to the Breakfast Club interview. That was my first really introduction to you. And we were talking about a deal that you signed Nori to Tragedy's label. And you said that Nori did not get a favorable deal, but that wasn't your job. You were representing Tragedy.
Right. But I also, if you really look at the context of that situation, I made a mistake. And when listen to me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I made a mistake. And that mistake haunted me for over 10 years. So the first time I saw Nori, I apologized to him. And Nori was like, "Oh, I thought you tried to fuck me over." I said, "No, my brother, I fucked up. I overlooked something." So there's a difference between owning up and being haunted by a mistake and being trained to fuck my people
Let me
over.
ask you a question, though.
That's why I took offense by that, because when I was in law practice, a small black practice in New York City, who had a lot of clientele, we fought very hard to maintain our integrity and our responsibility to our people, because I noticed how they were getting wanted to be fucked over in the music industry.
Jack,
so that's why I took offense, because I carried that mistake.
And I did apologize.
Right,
and it's not public. No, but it was good to bring up. And I just want to know, for public record, I apologize that you felt insulted by it, and it was on a personal level. But
on
I think
Twitter, it can come off.
On Twitter, absolutely.
We're going to take this out of Jack.
Yeah.
Jack, you were an attorney.
Yes. I'm still an attorney.
You're still an attorney. Yeah. Some attorneys are, for all intents and purposes, trained the fuck over. Would you call it a system that they're trained to fuck over people?
I think once again it's a stereotype that even when I was in law school, even when I was,
I want my attorney to fuck over whoever I'm making a contract with.
And I can't rock with that. There's a difference between your lawyer trying to protect you and your lawyer trying to fuck people over. I don't understand. When I was in law school, there were some fucking, what's the word? Reptilian type students that would do everything to succeed over the other student. That's not the cloth that I'm cut from.
I respect
you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm that type of motherfucker.
You're reptilian.
Let's go.
I'm not that type of dude.
But listen, I'm saying all that to say this, right? I don't stereotype and profile all police officers.
I don't either.
I'm glad. The reason I don't is because my homeboy Wax brother is a cop for over 20 years in Newark. My cousin Kente is a cop. My cousin Trent is a cop. I've been stopped by police officers. Some have given me tickets. Some have taken me to jail. Some have said, hey, let me get that weapon. You go on about your way, whatever. Right. So, just playing devil's advocate, how come some of these cops just can't be making mistakes? How come they just can't be overzealous in the field?
It's funny. Once again.
Let me finish. How come they just can't be overzealous in the field and they pull their gun for whatever reason and they fire off and kill black people?
Once again, let me tell you something. We had a seasoned retired officer on our show last night, Corey Pegues. And he spoke about this new trend because the guns are firing right now. And he's been at the top of the system. And he's like, the change is right now there's no accountability within the system. Within the system, a cop shoots somebody, they're not going to be persecuted by themselves. He was like, when he was in there, he would get in somebody's ass. He's like, I don't want this bullshit on my force. You understand? So he's like, when you look at these mistakes that are happening randomly right now, or seemingly randomly, he said, yo, it comes from the top down. If you really put that discipline in these cops out there, like, yo, if you fucking make a mistake, and he looked at the Eric Garner. He looked at the Eric, and he's like, "This right here is a circus of errors,
and
this
murdered
from the top down."
Absolutely.
So but the administration right now, when the PBA union came out, and it's obvious that he's like, that's a fucking chokehold. But when the PBA comes out and says that's not a chokehold, it's sending a message like, whatever the fuck you do, we got your back.
Yeah, you can't
that's
do that.
top down.
You got to say when you make a mistake like that, the shield can't protect you.
But he also talked about how he saw the climate of the police department change in the 80s. In the 80s, the police out there were more reactive. They waited for somebody to die before they reacted. When Officer Edward Burns got assassinated by the Supreme Team in Queens, that's when they changed the system, become proactive. They put the death rate, the crime rate in New York City was so high that they had to put that boot down. He said there's never been a time historically in New York. I think last year there was something like 400 deaths, where before it was something like 23-something thousand deaths or some shit like that. He said the climate has changed, but that boot is still on. He's like, what the fuck are you trying to do right now in New York City?
So if a cop, play devil's advocate again, if a cop apologized the same way you apologized to Nori and said, look, I made a mistake. Any of these cops,
I think that would.
Could you forgive him?
I don't know if I could forgive.
Because I've seen.
But that would be huge. That would be huge with regard to community relationships with the police department, because it's all about accountability. If you make a mistake, listen. When I made that mistake with Nori, there were a couple of years I heard Nori was gunning for me. When Nori came on my show, I was like, I don't know where Nori's coming from, but I got to speak from my heart, not out of fear or anything. Because like I said, listen to the words I said. I said, this shit haunted me. The minute I realized he signed that contract, and I went back to Tommy Boy, we got to change this, and Tommy Boy was like, you already signed it. I was like, I fucked up. So it haunted me.
Yeah.
You understand? The minute I said to Nori, I fucked up, his whole shit changed. It's like, I didn't know you realized that.
That's real. Listen,
And in
So maybe-
retrospect, it taught him a big lesson.
And me and Nori are
and
cool
he spoke
right now.
about that, and he wound up making, getting his publishing back, and he wound up making the most money he ever made on that album.
that's real.
And he spoke about that, how it taught him a lesson, and he said that like
But I
he
was
said he don't hold
accountable.
him responsible for that.
That's huge. Hold yourself accountable.
yourself
Let's
accountable.
see some of these. So on both ways, let's see the cops hold themselves accountable for being shitty. Let's see white people who are having racist practices, systemic racist practices. Let's see them hold themselves accountable.
Let's
and
see
let's
black
see black
people
people
that are
hold
killing
themselves.
other black people. hold themselves
All of
accountable.
us.
Let me tell
All
you
of
this
us.
story I read last
But
week.
can you agree to that?
No, I
That we
agree.
all
No,
have to be.
It's every. Like, at the end of the day, we live in this country. We all like black people. Not like
All we got is us.
All we got is us.
All we got
All
is
of
us.
us, though.
But
All we
then
got is us,
the bigger picture is all we got is all of us. I read this.
I like all we got is all of us.
I
like
read this
that.
story last week about the whitewashing the James Brown movie, and they talked about how there were so many elements of this man's life that was integral to his legacy. That wasn't there, and maybe because there was a white director that really didn't know his legacy.
Maybe
like
because
that.
his family didn't want him.
No, just listen to me. So
His family was involved.
So listen.
Maybe
to me.
because the
And
country
please
is
listen to what I'm
70%
saying.
white.
Okay.
So they talked about how in Hollywood right now there are 50 movies slated for iconic black figures. 50 biopics for iconic black figures in the black community. Out of all of those, there are only 2 black writers, right? Mm-hmm. And then they talk about this rare occasion where there was this one movie about a black person. They approached this white woman, and she was like, I don't know about this culture. I don't know about this man. I know the money is good, but I don't feel
That's real.
That's not happening. I applaud her. I wish more of that was happening.
But for years, historically,
Wait, you want
they've
white
wanted-
writers to say no to gigs?
I want white writers to be like, yo, man, like I really don't know, but I don't want to
But
tell
you know his story.
But if we're talking,
Execs maybe should hire some black writers.
Yes,
but
That's the problem. For years,
I got a
historically,
kid
they have
to feed,
organizations.
man.
They have
Yeah.
organizations that are trying to get people to be more black writers. Or they got
Yeah.
organizations that are trying to get Hollywood to hire more black writers. That's what we need to do instead of wanting to be in front of the
yeah,
camera
but are
all
they-
the
are they
time.
hiring
Let's
it-
get
but
behind it.
there's mad people. Listen, for the past 30 years, I've known so many people, so many talented people that have graduated from film school, and then they hit that wall. I'm not saying it's their
What do
fault.
they want to be though? Do they want to be actors?
No,
or do they want to be writers? They want to be directors? They want to be producers?
I
What
didn't
do
say
they wanna do?
acting school. I said film school, where they want to be writers and directors, and they're committed to being behind the camera.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
They got to prove themselves.
But a lot of
Be
them,
great.
But there's a lot of them that have proved themselves. I know cats that the climate has changed.
Let's not
too.
act like these writers that they're getting are brand new writers. These are guys that have been in Hollywood for years.
Of course.
So, like I
Of
said,
course.
talent,
Yeah.
preparation,
Right.
opportunity, privilege. You
But-
can have all the talent in the world, but you still got to put in that work.
Also,
Jack.
whitewashing the movie is the exact reason why Transformers took place in China. It's just the audience.
That's not whitewashing.
No. What I'm saying is, when you whitewash this movie, right? You got to understand it's a business decision. All right, I got 70 million people. No, 70% of the country or 60% of the country, whatever it is white. I want them to see this movie too.
Right.
I want them to relate to it on a certain point.
But this is James Brown's life.
Sure.
This
but,
is James
but
Brown's life.
It ain't about his life. It's about dollars at the end
It's
of the day.
But it's also about if you're really
I
committed.
think we're looking too deep into the James Brown thing, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Dude,
I
they
just
said
think his
nothing. They
family-
said nothing about the civil rights movement. They
But
said
I think
nothing
his,
about.
I think his family
involvement-
left that out.
Why would his family?
I have no
I
idea.
mean, you're making a blind guess right now. That's
So
saying
are you, though.
that his family did not want him to be portrayed as a civil.
They didn't
somebody
show
who
his domestic. They didn't show him beating girls' asses, which he was notorious for.
Right, okay, but
notorious for.
But they left that out also.
They didn't show too much drug use. I'm
Right.
sure.
They just showed him shaking his ass and singing and dancing.
That's what I'm saying. Jack, come on,
Come on, man.
That's what we
It wasn't
know.
Ray. Ray was deep. Ray showed everything.
But what do most people know James Brown for? Is being an incredible entertainer,
Most
maybe
people-
the greatest
you see,
entertainer.
When I grew up,
yeah.
most people knew James Brown for "I'm Black and I'm Proud."
That word is born.
You understand?
Okay. Yeah.
That,
And that was not in there
that
at
was
all?
very important for the black. He was very committed
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
instilling pride
yeah.
in his people.
I'm gonna be. I don't even.
But was that not in there at all? You're saying?
not to the degree that it should have been.
But did he say "I'm black and I'm proud" in the movie?
I think.
That's
I think the
horrible. Then
James
that's
Brown
fucked up.
film,
Yeah.
altogether as a whole, was just a watered down James Brown movie.
That's the point. And James Brown was
Ray showed everything.
and James Brown was one of the blackest performers that ever existed.
Yes, Ray showed the civil rights.
But how many black
Ray showed
writers-
the drug use. Ray showed his womanizing. Whoever wrote Ray just did a better job.
They did a better,
than they did
a
James
complete
Brown.
job.
How many
of
black
show.
writers were on the James Brown movie?
They're saying it. I don't think there were any.
But see,
How many were on the Ray movie?
I mean, I don't
We
think got to
don't
work out.
know.
No, but keep in mind too. I mean, I'm not gonna even mention where the company is from. I told you, I dated a black woman. She's in corporate. She's the only black woman in corporate. There's like about 60, 70 people in corporate. She's the only. Why is that? Why is that?
tell you why
I just
that
want
is.
to.
No, okay.
Let him talk. Go ahead.
Okay, even like I'm gonna give you something that made me feel weird. When we just started dating, right, I took her to. I come from a big Italian family. We so it's like 200-300 people. We had parties to 100 people. You know, a lot of my family, you know, and people, the extension of them, my cousins, the other side. I guess you know there wasn't a lot of black people. They didn't have any friends that they were dealing with black people, you know. So we go to this, I don't know what it was, a communion party, and she turns to me and asks me like, "Why isn't there any black people here?" I didn't know what to tell her at first because I was like, because I guess they don't deal with black people.
You should tell her, look at the neighborhood. Like, listen.
So now I'm seeing corporate. I'm just saying. Now I'm seeing like, you know, and then like we were in corporate and they had like a party, and we had gave a tip, like a big tip. And then the lady came over and she was like, they're like, how did you know it was us? We were like, oh, they said the black table, you're the only black people here. and I was looking at her like, you know, Italian. But, you know, but at the end of the day, why is that happening? And I'm not black,
said, look at the
but I'm asking.
Once again.
No, I'm going to tell you why that is. Listen, I love when it's a lot of black people in positions of power or in corporate America. I love it. More importantly, I love good people. But I look at America. We only make up 13% of the population, as opposed to white people making up 70 plus. Of course, you're going to see more white people everywhere. That's just it's a numbers thing. It ain't that. It's not that deep.
I think that's.
It's not that deep.
I think that's.
And that's the other thing we do as black people.
I think that's.
Jack, let me tell you something. If it was say 50-50 or 40-40, because we always forget about everybody else. The Italians, the Chinese, the Spanish. We forget about everybody else, the Mexicans. If it was just 40-40 black-white,
because you got to go down
we would
to
run the world.
If what?
If it was 40-40 black-white, we would run America. If population-wise, if it was 40% black, 40% white, it's no doubt in my mind we would run America.
And why are you saying that?
Because look what the little 13%.
You're already the most influential group in the world.
Nobody has influence
in the world
more than black people.
In sports and entertainment.
No, in
the
culture.
World, whatever
you
culture,
go to Japan, they're walking around the way dressing.
Once again, that's entertainment.
No,
culture is entertainment.
Dressing is not entertainment.
When you're talking about finance,
vocabulary is not entertainment.
When you're talking about finance, because right now you're kind of giving the black people
you act like it's no
a
black
short
people
stick.
In finance,
You're
Jack.
saying we're great at culture. We're great at
Jack,
dancing
like no black people
and
in
shaking
finance.
our ass.
Can I make a point though?
Sports. But we're not talking about medicine.
Jack,
we're not
we got a
talking
black
about
president.
science.
But here-
we're not talking about engineering. We're not talking about banking. We're not talking about real estate. We're not talking about this whole swath of what makes this country great. We're talking about culture.
You're right.
Jack,
Can I
no black people in those
let me
fields.
respond. Charlotte, let me
Yeah,
respond.
but they're not that influential.
The way you said
Charlamagne.
it, it's not, go ahead.
Let
But the
me
way he said
respond.
it is like no black people are in those fields.
No, this is what makes most sense to me. Okay, so black people are dominant in entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. What kid growing up doesn't want to be in fucking entertainment or sports? No white kids going, you know what I want to do? Sell fucking
My
brownstones.
sons don't want to be in entertainment and sports.
Well, you're saying when they were growing up, and never were they were like, man, it'd be cool to play fucking football, basketball. Man, it'd be cool to be a rapper.
True. One of my kids wants to be a chef, and the other wants to be a designer.
True, but there should be more opportunity. There should be more opportunity because at the end of the day, what these basketball people do and the people who play sports, after they leave it, they don't know what the fuck to do.
But we act like people don't want to. I want to play ball my whole life.
Hold up, dude.
That's all I want to do was play ball my whole life.
Example.
Yeah.
When my kids were at public school, PS 321, for Black History Month, there was like this celebration of like black people, and all I saw was Jay-Z, Beyonce, and fucking Stevie Wonder. I'm like, and Michael Jordan. I'm like, you're telling my kids they can only be entertainers? Like, let's talk about the cats that
That's why you need to go
things.
tell people to go on Google and Google African American CEOs. Google who's the CEOs of these Fortune 500 companies.
But that's what I do.
There are black people who are in these positions.
That's what I do. But this is their school.
Who are the white people on there?
This is Black History Month.
But I'm saying if
I'm saying this is Black History Month. Dude.
But when we
they're
look
instilling pride in my kids
when
to
we
fucking sing and shake their ass.
But when we look at
and
famous
dribble the
white
ball.
people, do you think we look at like the most successful, the Corcoran group? I don't know who the fuck Corcoran looks
nobody
like.
looks at
I don't know who the
But you look-
fucking
you-
Bill
Nobody
Gates.
looks at Bill
They
Gates.
don't
Are
look
you
at-
fucking kidding me?
I would love to be Bill Gates.
They don't
So I
look-
have
are
his
you
money.
fucking kidding me?
White kids do not. Jack, I'm telling you, as a white kid, I
Who
didn't
are the white
grow up
images you see
going,
on
I
TV
want to be
all the
Bill
time?
Gates.
Who do they celebrate?
What's this?
The
black people.
The Angelina Jolies. They celebrate
Mark
celebrities.
Zuckerberg.
Hold
We
on.
live in a
White kids don't want to be Mark Zuckerberg.
No, they don't want to be Mark Zuckerberg.
What?
We live in a
White
celebrity-driven
kids do
culture.
not want to
Jack,
be Mark
you know
Zuckerberg.
that, black or white.
I
We
disagree
live in a
with you.
celebrity-driven culture.
No, Steve Jobs wasn't a celebrity.
No.
His New Balance were.
You're wild.
His phone is.
How many?
Hold
on.
Steve Jobs wasn't.
How many people wear turtlenecks? How many people
Combat
dress like
Jack
him?
when he was a lawyer.
But that's a very important aspect of society.
In
The tech
America,
world
we
runs
live in a
lot-
celebrity-driven culture. Kim Kardashian is the biggest motherfucker out here, and she don't do shit.
But
if
at
Warren
the
Buffett
end of the day-
and Kim Kardashian are walking down the street, who people gonna
At
rush?
the end
Kim.
of the day,
I'm getting a selfie with Kim.
Dude, but you're saying it yourself. At the end of the day, all these points of influence with regard to white people are wide. So if you don't want to be an
They
entertainer,
are in
you could-
black too. They
So,
are.
so name me a black person in tech that you know.
The guy that's the head of fucking the computer company. You know I'm a brilliant idiot.
What's his name?
I don't know his name, but I know it's a black guy that's the head of the computer
How
company.
celebrated is he?
It don't matter. I know.
How
You know,
celebrated
that's
is
a brilliant
anyone in these
idiot.
computer
You know,
guys?
Do you know his name?
Who
I don't.
sell?
Okay,
What?
that's why you won't just.
But I'm saying, that's on me. That's
Okay,
on me. But that's
I know
on me
he
because I
exists.
have to work.
So take
I didn't have to work.
responsibility for it.
And I will. I do that, dude. I research all the time.
But clearly not that much.
Yeah, but dude,
Clearly you're not researching.
Dude, don't do that.
His name is
You
John.
know, you know the white guys.
Schulz.
You know the white guys.
Schulz.
You don't know the
Schulz.
black dudes.
Schulz.
So
Don't
you're
do- It's okay.
criticizing. Yeah.
Schulz,
Okay,
don't
not
do
to
that.
know. That's what Google
That's what I'm
is
saying.
for.
Don't do that.
His name
Don't
is
do
John.
what,
Take
Jack?
one example
Hold
of somebody that I don't know and say that I'm not on my fucking game. Don't do that.
You weren't on your
But
game
don't
right
worry
now.
on my game.
I wasn't
That's,
on
you
my game
weren't
on
on your
this,
game.
but
That's
you're
exactly
making-
what I'm going to do.
You asked me to name.
But
you asked me to
because
name
you
somebody,
brought
but you
him
didn't
up.
know
Take
nobody yourself.
responsibility.
I am taking responsibility.
That's
okay,
all
don't
it
tell
is.
me that I'm not on my game.
You
across-
weren't.
You
though.
weren't on your game.
You
I
asked
just
me a
told
question
you.
you didn't know the answer
This
to.
one I'm not.
Yeah, but
This
it's
one I'm
turn.
not. But do you? But I
Let's
can.
time out. Let's
Don't tell me
hold
to
on,
not
hold on,
tell you
let's
some
huddle
shit
up,
that
For
you
the
man.
know.
listening audience, his name is John W. Thompson, and he replaced Bill Gates as chairman of the Microsoft board, and he is a black man.
That's good to know.
Okay.
There you go.
Now
There
we
you go.
know.
Now we
What's up,
know.
Johnny?
Now we know.
Now we know.
So all I'm saying is we have people in these positions. We just have to do the research.
We have to do the research.
and find
Let's
out.
name
and it's
some.
not
Let's
our
name
fault.
some black people in these
No,
CEO positions
I'm
because
not.
I know some.
Google the guy from McDonald's.
So go
He's
ahead.
black.
Who's some?
Google the guy from McDonald's.
Masai.
Dick Parsons.
Who is that?
Dick Parsons ran Time Warner, and he is now leading.
It's okay not to.
But
know
I'm
this
saying,
information.
but Dick Parsons.
Jack,
but I'm
you're bugging
but,
right now, bro.
But I'm saying Dick
No, he's
Parsons.
not. It's okay
I'm not
not to
bugging,
know.
dude.
It's okay not to know.
Yeah, but
Hold
just
on.
so he doesn't. I mean, you
All
don't
I'm
have
saying
to
is
know
don't
every
be
single.
upset that the
Just-
kids
just like
don't
it
know
just-
these things if you don't even know them.
Yes, because we know
But-
Jay-Z
but-
and Biggie.
Because we know Jay and Biggie.
We just don't know. We know they exist. We just don't know their names. You know why? Because they're not celebrities.
They're not sexy. We like sexy.
And
They're
it's-
not.
but-
And I used to want to do a show. I promise you, I used to want to do a show where we went and we highlighted these people the same way they had cribs
right.
and they would showcase celebrities.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to these people places and show them how they're living based off doing things that weren't sports and entertainment.
Right.
I used to have an organization in South Carolina called the No Matrix Movement.
So what happened?
to
To
show
what
kids.
happened to that design?
I still have it.
All right. So
I still have it. But-
so let's can we work on that?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm
But
saying. Can
if
we
see-
work on that?
Absolutely.
Because that helps me to do my job.
The show- who else?
Here's a stat. No, of the 1,645 people who are billionaires, there's only 7 who are black.
In this country,
In America, it's only one.
it's only one.
It says right here.
It used to be
there's only
2.
7.
No, not in America. It used to be Oprah and it used to be Bob Johnson.
Yeah,
And now it's just Oprah.
it's just Oprah.
Now you're saying there's only 2?
It's one.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Dre's about
Somebody
to
tell me
get
Dre no
paid.
goddamn billionaire.
I mean, technically he's worth it.
Okay, I want everybody.
Actually, here it says of the 1,645 people who made it to 2014 Forbes list of world billionaires, 9 of them are black, up from 7 a year ago.
yeah,
but from
that's
what
across-
country?
That's in the world.
No, I'm just saying, but it.
But we're
But
talking about
here's
America,
the thing:
really.
if you look at entertainment, 7 out of the 10 highest paid entertainers in the world were black. Or no, in America were black, right? I don't see white people going, "Hey, that's disproportionate to the amount of white people in the country. That shouldn't be like that. There should only be 1.3 black people on that list." We don't
But
complain
there's
about
more
it.
to this country than just entertainment, dude.
Yeah, but why can't they be? Why can't we celebrate them too?
No, we do celebrate them.
No, but you're saying
there's no
you're
shortage.
you're
There's
acting.
No shortage.
You're shitting on them. You're saying, "Oh, it's
I'm
not
not
real
shitting
estate.
on them.
It's not
I'm not
finance."
shit-
You're
no.
acting like it's not as
Okay,
important.
Andrew,
we have
I'm not
people.
shitting on them.
Not shitting.
No,
but you're
hold
acting
on.
like it's not as important.
Jack and
No,
Schulz.
I didn't say it's not
No,
important.
we just don't know what they are.
No.
As.
Let's
I just
be
want to
clear.
see more
Let's be clear.
diversity in careers.
It is,
Options.
Jack.
That
We
will-
just don't know who they are.
But that's what I'm saying in terms of being celebrated.
It is just people in this room.
Right.
We don't know who
But
they are.
we don't celebrate tech people at all because they're boring. No techs get
We don't
celebrated.
know who these people are. I have to Google. I knew that it was the head of a guy that John W. Thompson, but I didn't know his name.
Who makes Twitter? I don't know who made Twitter. Who makes Tinder? I don't know who made Tinder.
Jack?
Who makes?
We just don't know.
Yeah.
It is people in those fields.
Who made RedTube?
What?
RedTube.
I don't know, but God bless.
Okay.
Okay, now listen. We about to wrap this up. I want everybody to finish with a final point. Schulz, go ahead.
I think.
What do you? Basically, the final point is what did you want people to get out of this show?
I think that I want you to know that yes, there is white privilege.
We went through all of this shit.
I always felt there was white privilege. I thought it was still. I think there's white privilege. There's always been white privilege. Like, when Fat Man Scoop says, if you got long hair, put your hands, whatever it is. He says that first. So maybe all the white girls put their hands up first, and then he says the weave thing, and maybe that's unfair.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But
Indians got fucking long hair.
But I'm just saying,
They got hair on their tits. What are you talking about?
Okay.
If you think Schulz is a racist, hit us up on SoundCloud right now.
So
Racist Pete is not today.
Look at. So my point is, I think what I would love.
Pete.
Reality is, what I would love is. I don't want any safety net. It's like the Batman, the Dark Knight Rises movie when he's in that prison underground and he finds out the only way to get out. He finds out the only way to get out is to do it without the rope. If you got the rope, you ain't gonna fucking jump as high. But if you take that rope off, you don't have a choice but to not fail. I don't want to give black kids, white kids, Asian kids, anybody that's growing up in America a rope. I want them to go, if I fail, it's because I failed. And there are going to be people that are going to hold you down because you're white. Hold you down because you're black, hold you down for it. But if you are great, there's one thing proven in America. If you are great, regardless of your race, you can succeed in this country.
I agree. Combat Jack.
I'm going back to my original point, which I guess incensed you last week, which is, listen, man, I think with regard to the general black community, the odds are against us. The system is stacked against us. We got to huddle up and we got to take responsibility for ourselves. All we got is us because nobody's going to do it for us.
Premium Pete.
My main thing about white privilege is that it exists, and I hope that one day that we could really, people could really understand and see that it does. I think there's a lot of blind people that don't look into it, and what I really learned is throughout the whole time of learning that I had white privilege was just to really understand that that there's all different races of people, some good, some bad, but we need more relatable people to step up in the forefront and talk the good talk, instead of just talking about stupid shit that don't mean nothing. And I'm gonna leave y'all on a note that we need to be there for our kids. Presence over presence.
Absolutely.
That's what I move. That's a movement that I push. It's presence over presence. Don't let your guilt buy them fucking gifts. Be there for them.
Absolutely.
I agree. I just want to say that I'm not denying white privilege exists. I'm just telling you, don't deny yours. I feel that we're all privileged people. I feel that we're all highly favored. We're blessed. And when you have the talent and you put in the preparation, you will create opportunities for yourself, and it will create privilege for you all across the board. I also want to say that we cannot hate the system more than we love ourselves. I know you all get mad when we bring up the black homicide statistics, and
Just killing them with dick.
When we talk about
Dick talk, dick segment.
Okay,
That's a
That's
pause.
what you guys do on this show? Talking about dicks?
I'm the pause deputy.
They're the homicides, bro. They're just killing dudes
I know
with dick.
people get upset when we talk about the rate that black people are killing black people whenever a cop or a white man kills one of us, but we got to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We cannot just value black life when it's convenient to our prejudices. We got to value black life at all times. And
you can't just value examples. People got to put good examples out there.
good examples.
Hold
out there.
yourselves accountable.
Yeah.
White cops and white people, hold your fucking white cops
Absolutely.
accountable. Black people, hold black people shooting each other accountable.
So don't deny, defy. That's my motto. We good?
Loudspeakers Network.
All right.
Cheer.
Speakers Zach with
Combat
the-
Jack
The
Show.
Loudspeaker Network combines. Yeah, make sure y'all listen to the Combat Jack Show, Combat Jack Premium Pre. I want
Yes.
to thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very
It was
much.
one of my favorite podcasts way before I got with the Loudspeaker Network. Still is one of my favorite podcasts.
And I got to salute y'all, man. You guys are doing great numbers.
Trying, man.
Great numbers.
Following
man.
your footsteps, man. That's
Nah,
what we're
you
trying
guys
to
are
do.
doing. You guys are doing better than us.
That's
man.
not true.
Hey,
man.
listen, it's
We
not,
here.
it's not a competition.
No, I'm just
At the
saying
end
you
of
guys are doing great numbers.
Because
Thank
you
you,
putting
man.
yourself in that black box, Jack. If you abroad,
No,
I'm
that's
fuck you.
See, don't. Wow.
Get him.
Just broaden your horizon. Listen, as always, man, if you listen to this podcast and you learn something, you think we know what we're talking about, you think we're smart, you think we're brilliant, we thank you. If you listen to this podcast and you think that we're a bunch of coons and Uncle Toms and Schultz's are racist and we don't know what
Don't start putting that out there, yo.
And
Do
we-
not start putting that shit out there,
and
man.
you don't think we know what the fuck we're talking about and we're a bunch of idiots, you're right too. This is the Brilliant Idiots Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Cheer. Illuminati.